This evening. We are going to have a presentation by the Main Street Steering Committee. They've been working for a long time, over a year and a half. They've been working on coming up with a plan for Main Street, and we are excited to hear their findings. What we'd like is, we've got quite a bit on the, and so we're wondering, Jared, if we can keep it about 25 minutes or a half an hour. Is that doable for you guys, or? Okay, perfect. So let's keep it to about 25 minutes or a half an hour, as we've got a full agenda tonight. And without any further ado, Jared, I'll turn the time over to you, and you can do your presentation. And I really want to, while you're setting up there, I want to really express my appreciation for this committee they've been dedicated to this, and they've put a lot of time and effort into putting this together, and we're excited to hear their findings, and I want to thank Jared and your group, and I want to recognize, how much work you guys have done. So thank you, and we'll turn the time over to you now.
Thank you. And same to you, Mayor. It has been a long haul, and I appreciate the opportunity to present to you guys. I know that the sort of the landscape of this council is changing, but for those of you remaining and those of you shifting roles, and those present that will be taking over, this is extremely important. So we do appreciate the time. We don't take it for granted. Okay, and like this says, I plan on keeping this as short as possible. You should have all received in the packet our presentation, or our report. That will be a longer form version and more in-depth version of what you'll see tonight. So were you guys able to skim that? Okay. Purpose of tonight's presentation, and Casey, just stop me where you, I guess I should introduce Cassandra Merrill. She's my co-chair of about 6 months or more on this committee, and she's the reason that all of this has happened. So really, I just can't say enough good things. So tonight, we're going to summarize 2 years of public engagement from the steering committee. We're going to present key findings, address misconceptions, outline a funding path to be able to accomplish what we recommend, and then we're going to give you guys some action-ready next steps. Of course, that is up to you, but as we go over our purpose, it'll kind of become more clear. Okay, so the mission statement, when we first started meeting in like March or April of 2024, we spent 2 meetings entirely trying to distill down what our purpose was. And this is it: to assess the current Main Street environment through observation, public input, and discussion, and to make recommendations to the Tremonton City Council to create a functional and inviting Main Street. We envision, our vision is to create an inviting, vibrant, and functional Main Street that emboldens active citizenship, supports business vitality, and preserves Tremonton's heritage. So each one of those points we specifically nailed down as important. Why? Well, research and studies have shown that organized and concerted efforts to improve downtown districts improve retail sales. Creates a more functional, a better tax base for the city. And the specific opportunities that Tremonton has because of the Tremont Center RDA are like really exciting. And I hope that by the end of this, you all will be aware of what that is, if not already. Just as sort of anecdotal, evidence on this front of why this is important. Casey, would you tell them about your hometown and what they've done with their Main Street? It's very similar.
Why don't you come up here so When
So this last October, I went back to visit my family, and they've been working on a revitalization project for the last 10 years or so. And they've noticed a huge increase in sales, the sales tax from their revitalization, and compared to the city that they revitalized versus the other cities in the county, it was a huge increase. So I can send you those numbers if you're interested. But when I was back home, I was able to talk to their revitalization person, whoever was in charge of that. I don't know what his title was, but and he gave me a lot of like hope and like helped me understand the importance of it and how it can really help the city to be more welcoming and to prosper in a way that can't without that financial background, because they got that increase from the sales tax, that now they can do more as a city. So hope that makes sense.
So, in addition to, Casey's hometown in New York, there are organizations like Main Street USA that have done extensive studies, like to the tune of 1,200 different towns in their main streets, and found significant results. And you'll find those sources in my report. So, what informed our recommendations? Our mission and vision adoption, which we spent time nailing down what needs to be done. Public concerns. We did a survey called City Vision 2024. Staff consultation on RDA and tax increment funding. We consulted with the city staff on that at length. Lighting and landscape analysis through Landmark Designs particularly was instrumental in helping us to become a little bit more civil engineering minded, and business residents input and through the Main Street Showcase. So, the public engagement overview on the City Vision 2024 survey, we'll start there. This was in August of 2024, 646 responses, plus or minus 3% variation. Main Street Showcase 2025, 300 participants, 900 votes, 60 plus written comments, 10 committee members taking notes on conversations that they were having the whole time. Business surveys and owner feedback. Lyle Vance performed a survey for us, and then we invited guests or business owners to our meetings to give feedback as well. So that's how we engaged with the public on this. So in the City Vision 2024 survey, overall support for a revitalization effort of some kind. 72% of those almost 700 participants supported some sort of revitalization effort. Top priorities, and some of these might be surprising. Indoor and outdoor dining, 83% support. Sidewalk replacement and safety, 82%. Storefront beautification. Tree replacement, 70%. Decorative lighting, 86%. So fiscal preference, this is very important. Respondents emphasize that improvements should proceed without property tax increases. So that is, if we're to maintain a civic mind, this has got to happen without property tax increases, and we know it's possible. Okay, so the Main Street Showcase was on September 27th of this year, and we designed boards for people to vote on different design elements. We showed them the streetscape that was proposed, and then we obviously took notes and things. 60 written submissions were collected, plus notebooks full of notes from residents. Our feedback, a lot of it was parking concerns. Chief concern is fear of losing storefront access. Maintenance responsibilities, repeated requests for city guarantees on upkeep. So we're talking about like the previous trees. We'll dive into that a little more. And then fiscal caution. Again, support is dependent on using the existing RDA funds and grants. Okay, what did our businesses say? So this is largely regarding the trees and the storefronts. This has been the biggest sticking point from our businesses. From the survey that Lyle Vance did around the same time as the City Vision survey, 75% of businesses supported removing old trees. 75% of those did not opt to replace the removed trees, which is interesting. Visibility and damage concerns were kind of the main thing. And Don's Furniture and Casey and Heath Wolfley, who own Don's Furniture, are present tonight. They can tell you about the damage that was caused to their property by the trees. That was the main feedback from our businesses on a lot of this. So we're going to get into our recommendations here, but first we kind of want to do a brief overview of, because when we start sort of telling you what we recommend, one of the main things that we get is, well, how are we going to pay for this? So I want to start with this and then circle back to it at the end. So the RDA captures tax increment. Developer reimbursement ends on the Tremont Center CDA. If you're not familiar with this, just let me know. In 2026, at which point all that increment from that investment will go into the RDA. So what does that look like? We'll dive into it in the next one. But basically, we can use funds like that and go and get grants that require matching and multiply those funds. So I'll give you some numbers on what that looks like. After this, the CDA will go until 2031. It can be extended to allow further development and increase ROI to taxing entities. So I'll circle back to that. So let's go to the next one. So what does that look like? So the CDA fund will fulfill its obligation to the developer next year. Right now, the RDA minus what was spent on Midland Square has $1.7 million. Dedicated to Main Street design and engineering, as far as what we saw in the budget, is about $700,000 for this fiscal year. So what's coming in from these investments? Well, the investment has a $4.3 million cap, and we're on schedule to hit that cap before 2031. So that's basically what we've got to work with out of that investment. Is all this, I'm assuming you guys know a lot of this already, so is this making sense? Okay, so think about $4.3 million minus a couple of projects that the city may have already borrowed out of that bucket for. And we have that bucket of money to use to then go and match to grants. And depending on the grant, it's not unreasonable to think that we could double that money. So these are the funding mechanisms that we recommend that the council uses and mobilizes to go ahead and do these recommendations that we have. Okay, so first is the streetscape. Streetscape is an issue because whenever we started to talk about lights, whenever we started to talk about trees and planters, we ran into issues where could we put trees without interfering with the buildings. So what we have here is like sort of an option. We don't have a specific recommendation. We recommend that you guys weigh all of these options and make a decision based on what you think is best. So let's quickly go over them. This is streetscape option number 1. you'll see that on the corners, there are bump outs that,
Are these in a particular order for a reason, or just is this the steering committee's recommendation in order, or just happen to be fall this way? You know what I mean?
the order of,
The order 1, 2, 3, 4.
What do you recommend, for
Are-
1, 2, and 3, your recommendations?
so they're in no particular order.
Okay, cool.
However, and there are pros and cons to each one.
Yeah.
When we tried to distill down what the best option is, it just depends on what you want. So this recommendation with bump out planters and with bulb outs, so bump out planters are the things in the middle there. In the middle of the street, they've got trees in the planters there, yep. And then on the ends, we have got bulb outs, which the pros of this are that they are going to support long-lived, healthy trees with adequate soil. So as if the citizens want larger trees and sort of that canopy effect, this is probably what's going to happen. Otherwise, we get intrusion on the buildings. Provides shade and color, it's visually distinctive, improves the pedestrian comfort and safety. This is the main feature of this design, is if we want retail space, we're gonna need to gear Main Street toward the pedestrian and not toward the vehicle. So that's like the main thing here, is to gear it toward the pedestrian. These bump outs, they provide safety for people parking in them. And it makes that sidewalk wider and more walkable, if that makes sense. Utilizes otherwise unusable red curb space. We'll talk about the parking that it takes up. It doesn't take up any existing parking that's legal. It actually extends the parking stall length from 20 to 23 feet. And the tree mess is captured there in the planter. So those are some pros. What are the cons? Higher upfront construction costs and potential minor roadway narrowing. So the roadway itself doesn't narrow, but it will seem narrower. As far as feet and inches go, it'll stay about the same. Requires formalized maintenance for irrigation, pruning, and snow removal. It's probably a pain in the butt to remove snow out of them. And then business owners remain cautious about any tree reintroduction due to prior damage. They're really just kind of wary of it.
Is there another page of cons for this?
I'll let you guys fill in the blanks. So these are options. You can find more information. Sam Taylor, who designed these from Landmark Designs, actually wrote an entire presentation that's linked in my report. So he goes like really into depth, way more than we have time for. Okay, next. Okay, compact trees. So this is Main Street as it was. Maintains full parking inventory. Lower construction costs, simpler engineering, retains greenery and seasonal color. The cons are that it's limited soil volume, reduced lifespan and growth. So you probably have to have smaller trees. Even so, smaller trees closer to the buildings still obstruct the businesses. But you could do it. You just need to keep the trees smaller. Higher risk of root damage, sidewalk upheaval, just like we kind of experienced before, requires frequent monitoring and replacement and offers less shade. So next is planters only. So this is Main Street as it is now. And we redo the sidewalks, make them nicer, but we install planters only. No root infrastructure conflicts, minimal long-term maintenance costs, flexible design and adaptable to business frontage. This puts the onus to the businesses and or the city to help the businesses. Make those storefronts take on the beautification of the street. So that the businesses have to own that at that point. What are the cons? It provides aesthetically aesthetic improvements only. There's no environmental or shading benefits, limited visual cohesion unless regularly maintained, and lacks the canopy effect that many residents desire. So again, in the report, there's a much more in-depth sort of analysis of this, but that's basically the choice that has to be made. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, if there are trees reintroduced on Main Street, the Courageous Crabapple was chosen by the public during the Main Street Showcase as the tree of choice for its color. We know that this particular tree has droppings and things. Something like this is what would need to go up. People really like the color. And it can be kept smaller and things. But this gives you an idea of what the residents want. All right, lighting recommendations. Anything I'm missing so far? Okay. All right, so as far as street lamps on Main Street, what do the residents and business owners want? It was pretty close to unanimous. They want a combination of these two lighting fixtures with a double luminaire. So if you can imagine a lighting fixture with the base of option 2 there, or the first option, and then the luminaire of the second there, the curved one, and then making it a double luminaire, you can get these in an asymmetric design that lights the street and the sidewalk, and engineers are in charge of making sure that that works. So pretty cut and dry there. That's what the public wants. We did go down a little bit of a rabbit hole as far as jellyfish accent lighting. You can see Brigham City's Main Street here. Tyson Taylor, a resident here in Tremonton, did this for Brigham City, and they've loved it. It's relatively cheap. So $80,000 to $100,000. That exact number has not come in from Tyson yet. But what could happen is if we're looking to build culture and value in Main Street, these have 1.5 million literally different colors that they can change to. They can all be controlled remotely or individually. And just think, Bear River's playing, well, Main Street's lit up in white and red. Or if Bear River wins, we do a firework effect all the way down Main Street. Or insert this holiday or event here, and that's what you can do with these. The tourism the tab board, tourism and Box Elder County's tourism board has told us that they probably would offer grant funding for this. So if we're talking about easy, low-hanging fruit, that's one thing you definitely want to consider as far as lighting goes on Main Street. Okay. What do we want to see as far as plants on Main Street? This second option here, the first option on your left, is the preferred look that people want to go for as far as plants. It's called Country Garden, preferred by about 60% of the votes. And those that are in charge of doing this will make sure that they're drought and like salt tolerant, and that they have sort of a timeless look. So that one's a pretty easy decision to make. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. It's parking. Concerns raised by business owners, to name a few: Blake Parkinson, Kevin Hansen, Don's Furniture, Possibility Salon, and many others have expressed concerns about parking on Main Street or the lack thereof. The recommendation that we have is to work directly with businesses to create shared or rear parking lots and install wayfinding signage to point them to the parking that does exist within the nearing area of Main Street. Over 150 parking spaces exist within one block of Main Street. per our city planner. Most are within 100 feet of storefronts, but signage and striping are insufficient. Some estimates have claimed that like 300 or more parking stalls exist within 700 feet of Main Street. So we spoke briefly with, or Mayor Holmgren spoke with the owners of the parking lot by KeyBank. For example, we wanted to get a feel for if they would be amenable to the idea of the city striping and maintaining that parking lot in exchange for using it for retail storefront parking, and they were amenable to that idea. So this is the kind of cooperation that we could use to fix that problem. Just as a funny, just as a side note, UDOT does not like parking of any kind on that road. And tell us that they could kind of, if they really wanted to, they could kind of pull the plug and have us not park on Main Street. It's well within their right, it's a state road. So this is something we want to consider anyway. Probability is pretty low that that would happen, but we're informed that is a possibility. So signage and striping help people to know where to park. Pretty simple.
Just a quick comment on what you just stated. If you were to go with that initial option that you showed, and then DOT came in and wanted to take it, we would have lost, wasted all the funds that we did to update that street.
So there is like a really intense design strategy that has to happen here. None of this happens without DOT say so. However, Jeff has been working with UDOT, and they're aware of the designs that Sam and Jeff have for this. So don't think of this as think of these as concepts. If the city council decided to okay the design of these things, obviously all of the parking and all of the turning radius studies would have to be done, but we're told within a degree of certainty that this would all keep within those current regulations. But yeah, it is all pending their approval. So for them to come back after the fact and say, hey, you have to, rip this out is pretty unlikely.
I have a concern. You said, and it just got me, and it's still, you said that we gotta really realize that this will be more of a
Pedestrian.
pedestrian thing. That's not gonna happen. We don't have another road that joins this whole thing. That's a state highway we gotta address that, because I drive it every day to go to work, and there's no other road to just go around. I think on my end, that's a huge concern. And the snow.
Yep.
State plows the snow. Carl's guys don't have to worry about it. They spend the money for all the stuff, and
So
we give
yeah,
that up, we'd still be doing them pull-outs.
yeah. So herein lies the thing. So you guys have to make that decision. We're gonna make you guys make the decision. So
You've done a really good job giving pros and cons. Thank you.
and again, please do not make a decision without reading Sam's report on this. It's linked right there in our report. It's super, super good on all of this. But yeah, it's not a question of good or bad. It's a question of what do we want. So
I got a couple things too while we're on this one real quick, Mayor. If I hope nobody wants the bulb outs because it won't work, but one, we'd have to have more retail dining anyway. Right now, there's only one restaurant in town that would put them up, put a table out there. Nobody else is gonna take something out and block off the street, and you never did get that. We will have to be repaying phase 2 of that canal coverage out of that RDA. We got the first one paid for, but the second one's still gotta come out of that.
as far as I know, that is included in that, is it not, Mayor?
Was it included
And I'm not sure.
with that
yeah.
4.1 million that you had?
My understanding is that he was not going to go further.
It's not gonna go further, but we didn't get this second one paid for yet, did we? Didn't we just
I
get the
think
first
that's
one paid
all
off?
in the process right now, so.
Right. Great thing though, And then the only other quick quick thing I had is what lights we're gonna put there, probably ought to match what we got in Midland. And it might not have been the one with the most.
Well, it could be the
Dots on
double luminaire, but it could be that same style.
Right.
Yeah, so I actually chopped off the first one that we did give the option to the residents. It was the least preferred, but it probably is not the end of the world if you guys wanted to do that for continuity. So just go with the base from the second option at that point. But you know, yeah, our goal is to inform you. So okay, thank you. In interest of time, we'll keep going. Improvements made within the CDA area will increase. So for reference, that's about from Legacy Square to Twisted Sugar. So the Tremont Center to Legacy Square is the old hospital. So within that area, the more that we can increase that property tax base, or the better way to put this is increase property values, right? The more of that tax increment will end up coming back to the taxing entities. So like the school district, if we talk about funding issues with the school district, like we've all been very aware of, and if we want to talk about private ways that entrepreneurs and members of our community can fund our school district, this is the top tier way. Tax increment funding is a great way to do that, and we love it. So future opportunities, right? So this CDA will expire at either $4.3 million, which we're projected to hit that before 2031, more or less. Just depends on property tax values and what they do between now and then. If the city council can ask the taxing entities for an extension on this, both on that cap and on time, then that could potentially bring back the taxing entities a larger ROI and allow the city to continue to use that tax increment for further investment. So we do recommend looking seriously into getting an extension on the CDA. But you do have to convince the taxing entities of that. But if there's a good plan together, and if they're reasonably sure that they're going to get a larger return on their investment, they'll probably do that. So, okay, let's go forward. Okay, addressing misconceptions. Parking. Parking is available 100 to 200 feet away from Main Street. It's usually through like rear door accesses. So if we look at Logan, for example, a lot you think of Levin's and the Bluebird, and they've had to adapt to take back door entrances. So that is a lot of where that parking lies. Do with that information what you will, but there is parking to be had. Another misconception is that no special developer kickbacks were given because of the CDA. During we had to kind of get to the bottom of this mystery. You know, our developers getting kickbacks from the city for personal developments, and it turns out it's just not true. Developers are reimbursed for reasonable costs on developments, and overall tax increment funding is a positive thing for the city. So just dispelling that myth. Trees removed due to damage and obstruction. No other reason. Obstructed the businesses, damaged the businesses. We surveyed and recommended that you guys have the trees removed, and that's what was done. That was the only reason, period, end of story. Committee meetings, this was more close to home to us. Committee meetings were held, there was a misconception that committee meetings were held in secret and that there were backdoor deals happening. We never held a secret meeting, and included citizens and business owners alike. We did gather hundreds of public opinions and responses. So we had no other intention other than to inform you guys on this, and went to great lengths to get public opinion on this. And we believe that the public has been heard as far as what's reasonably expected from us. Okay. So, summary. Country garden design theme, double luminaire lighting, crabapple trees and planters, or the like. Parking improvements and RDA funded implementation. Go to the next one. These are some action ready next steps. So we can authorize the continuation of these engineering ideas or of these engineering plans when you guys decide what streetscape to go with. Parking wayfinding plan can start to be developed immediately. Lighting specifications, again, that harkens back to the design. We can let them go on that. RDA allocation, we can allocate funds from the RDA to these projects. Grant applications, we can start applying for grants to sort of multiply our funds here. So that is important to get going on soon as possible. And then final design review. Obviously, all of this will come back to a final design review when you're ready to go. Okay. Okay. So we have developed a data-driven, publicly supported, fiscally responsible path forward. Community, from what we've gathered, is ready. Funding the structured, designs prepared, time to move forward confidently. The worst decision is going to be indecision on this one. All right, and last one. I'm not going to read all of this, but do read our closing statement at the end of my report. It basically just says that we've dedicated a lot of time and energy to this, and we believe that we've come up with a maybe not bulletproof case, but about as good as can be expected for you guys to be armed with what you need to make decisions going forward. Okay. Any questions?
This is, you guys have done a fantastic job. We appreciate all of the time and effort that you've put into this. What a great report. And I think it just gives us ammunition to go forward, and it's good to know that we have the public support, and like you said, the public is ready from what your findings have been. And so could we just have the Main Street Committee stand so we can see who you are? This is not everybody. We have a lot more than this, but thank you. Thanks. And let's give them a round of applause. That's 2 years.
Thank you.
2 years of effort to get to this point, so we appreciate it so much. Thank you. All right. Go back over here, get back to where I was. All right, let's go through and if we could, there's some issues that we need to talk about on the agenda that I think we need to clarify, just so we're aware, because it's a little confusing, really. And so maybe what I'll do is have Cynthia we have some question as regard to the conflicts of interest resolution. Let's see, these are resolutions, right?
These are ordinances.
These are ordinances, okay. We have some question on that, and maybe Cynthia, can you explain, because we've not done this before, quite like this, and so we have 2 ordinances dealing with conflicts of interest. One is one way and one is the other, and so council, you'll make a decision as to which way you want to go on this. Cynthia?
So we have the 3-707. We have 2 ordinances. This first one says that we'll follow the state. It comes from our attorney. We brought this to him after our last meeting and said, this is what the council asked us to do. Can you please give us the wording? So that's this one. The second one says that we'll change it to read the household, and it's in the packet. If you guys read that, you can see it. Dalton just suggested we give you both options. You guys can choose which one you want. So You can make a motion, we would like to adopt ordinance 2522 instead of whatever, or 25 instead of 24.
Did he
So
offer
unless-
any recommendations?
He did not.
Okay.
Yeah, we did ask him if he saw any reason not to follow the state. That was our question last time, and he said no. So those are the two options. And then same with the next one, 2524 and 2525. This is regarding the rules and the conflict of interest for the Planning Commission, DRC. And he said, whatever you do with city council, you need to mirror it in the other one, just make them the same. So the same thing. This one's going to follow the state procedures, and this one's going to follow ours and just amend it a little bit so it says household. So same thing, just make a motion to approve
2524
one.
stays with the state, and 2525 goes to the household.
Correct, yep.
And to do it the same, whatever we choose
Yes.
to do, just do it the same for both of the.
That was his
Planning Commission
recommendation.
And the city council?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else on there? It seems like there was one other things, Cynthia, that,
I did ask him why she wanted to amend the fees to the library. They are wanting to remove them, and she said it's something they're doing across the state at their trainings. They've talked about it. They said it takes a lot of hours, a lot of staff time to track these and to talk to the patrons, and they don't like it. The patrons don't like it. And she said a lot of times patrons just won't come back. If they have a late fine, they are embarrassed or whatever, so they just won't come back, so they lose patrons. And she said it was only $700 for the whole year, so it wasn't a big amount anyway. And so they just recommend that we remove those fines. If they lose a book or a DVD or whatever, then they will have to pay the replacement. This is just late fees. And we had a cap on $5 max anyway, so it wasn't a big fiscal difference, and she just said it would be a lot easier for the staff and patrons. I think that was the only one.
those are all the questions that okay. Are there, well, we do have a few minutes here that we do have quite a full agenda. There will be the canvassing for the election will take place. We'll do that right at 7 o'clock. We understand that we're going to have a lot of youth here for the citizenship awards, and so we want to try to keep going there. And then if we do have an RDA meeting following this, but we also have we'll have a closed session, so there's going to be a full agenda. Let's see. I was going to say something now. Council, would it be possible that we do the Board of Canvassing in the interest of time? Would there be a reason why we couldn't do that now? Is it a separate meeting?
Close this one and start the Board of Canvassers meeting,
And then we close this
the Board of Canvassers meeting, and then go into City Council.
because
Well, we gotta have break.
we really haven't opened. I mean, we just had a workshop is all we've had so far, so we could
Yeah, if we wanted to
go
close-
into the canvassing meeting.
Yeah, close the work session, start the canvas meeting, end the canvas meeting, and then start City Council.
Did you say closed door?
No.
Just close this meeting that we're in.
Oh, close this, yeah, okay. So
Do we need a
Okay.
motion for that?
we never really opened with a motion, but we can close with,
With a motion, but you have to close.
let's just go into the Board of Canvassing meeting, if we could do that, Wes, if you.
Make a motion that we close this meeting and go into the
Perfect.
Board of Canvassing meeting.
Okay, motion by Wes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bo. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's go into the Board of Canvassing meeting, and that, again, will be turned over to you, Cynthia. You'll
This paper?
do the,
You guys can just sign that. Okay, so this is just to present the findings from the general election. We had 5,447 active registered voters. 2,080 ballots were cast, which gives us a total percentage voted of 38.19. Ballots counted on election night were 1,652. Percentage counted on election night, 30%, .33. Ballots received after the November 4th, 2025, 8 o'clock PM deadline and not counted, there were 28. That was a change. We have posted that on our website and on Facebook. They had to be received by 8 o'clock on election night. There were 3 provisional ballots that were voted, and they were counted. So there's a whole big packet that is included. It goes through the audit, it goes through all of the votes, how they were tabulated per precinct. If you have any questions, be happy to answer
would-
those. Otherwise,
I would just like to congratulate all of the folks who will be taking these seats come January. My heartfelt, I won't say condolences.
Congratulate us that ain't gonna have it too, right, Brandon?
Yeah, congrats and condolences.
Congratulations. and
Double-edged sword, Mayor.
Well, seriously, in all seriousness, congratulations to all of those who will be going forward and leading this city into the future. So, I guess, is that all we have to do for that?
We can make a motion to approve it.
Oh, need a motion to approve the
I make a
canvas.
motion we approve the canvas.
Motion by Blair. Do I have a second? Second by Brandon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. One more motion.
Make a motion, we go end the canvas meeting. Is that right, Lindsay?
I'll second.
Motion by Wes and seconded by Brandon as well. Bo. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll take a break now we'll start the regular council meeting at 7 o'clock sharp. It's about time. We'll go ahead and call this next meeting to order. We appreciate all of you for being here with us this evening. And before I forget, Jared Lewis asked me if I would make a little announcement. If I don't do it now, I'll forget and not say it. So for those of you who are here for the Main Street Committee report, they did a great job, by the way. They did a fantastic job. And he wanted to make sure that, he kind of referred to a report that our planner had put together, our landscape architect. And that is located, if we can go down to council packets there, go down to the bottom there and choose this week. And there should be a connection right there, right at the top. That's the report. If any of you would like to look at that report, you're more than encouraged to do so, and it'll explain a lot that maybe a lot more detail as to what Jared was going through. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say, and I knew I would forget it if I didn't say it right now. We'd like to thank everybody here for coming out to our policy meeting this evening. I've asked Bo Lewis if he would give us an opening prayer. And then after Bo does that, we've got Nora Anderson, one of our students, who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And so we'll have Nora come up right after Bo.
Our dear kind beloved Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be here tonight. We're grateful for the blessing it is to come together and to set vision and to dialogue. We're grateful for the blessings of this community and for the people that live here. And we ask that would please bless us, that our hearts will be united, that we can always focus on friendship and growth, and that we'll be able to have vision and thoughts that are greater than our own. We're grateful for all that we have, and we ask you to please bless us and keep those who are in the line of duty safe, that they'll be able to be protected. And we're so grateful for all that we have, and say these things in the sacred name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Nora. She's reluctant, Nora. Okay. All right, Nora, here we go.
Ready? 15 standard. You got it? Ready?
Good job, Nora.
Thank you, Nora. That was a brave thing to do in front of this large group of people. All right. Let's see, council, item number 2, declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any conflicts with the agenda here tonight?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Council?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Okay, motion by Wes and seconded by, you second it? Seconded by Blair. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes. Council, did you have a chance to go through and review the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for October 21st, 2025.
All right. Motion by Bo,
I'll second it.
seconded by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now this is the favorite part of the whole meeting right now. So we're going to give out our citizenship awards. This is a tradition that we've had going for a couple of years now, and we appreciate all of you for coming. We appreciate the students so much. You know, these students are our future leaders. This is who, when we all get old like I am, these are the students and these are the people that are going to be leading our communities, and we appreciate their example, because what they're doing is they're showing that they're respectful and that they're responsible for what they're responsible for themselves and for those around them, and they choose safety okay? So those are three really important things that these young people are learning, and we need to recognize them, and we appreciate them for coming here tonight. And so we're going to give them each a certificate and a little card, something to go to Twisted Sugar. Okay.
I know Christie's here. Well, and there's your,
Oh, yeah, could we have the principals come out? We'd like to recognize, these are the people that make it all possible, and make sure that we can recognize these young people. I'm getting really warm.
Up in here.
It is.
Okay, when I call your name, if you'll come up, and then if you'll just come around here and stand, and we want to get your picture when we're all done, okay? Adeline Price. Axton McLean. James Newman. Way to go, James. Make an entrance here. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Nicarana Anderson, I hope I pronounced that right.
Nicanora.
Nicanora. Cannon King. Good job. There you go. Naveen Martinez Hernandez. Did I pronounce that right? Jordan Lemus. Good job, Jordan. Max Bronson. Kawhi Achin. Jaden Hess. Lucy Wadsworth. Austin Rawlinson. Ellie Whitmore. And Rain Gillen. Right? Okay, so we'll make sure Rain gets her. Is she here? Oh, I'm sorry, Rain. Did I pronounce that right? What?
It's Rain Gline.
Gline? Thank you for the correction. All right. Let's have everybody kind of squeeze together so we can get your picture.
She's like, nope.
I don't think so.
Sorry, I'm in the crowd. We're gonna take a picture and post.
And we will give parents plenty of time for pictures.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. I got it. Or grandma. I just said grandma.
Is there any bigger than this area? I think it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
What if we need?
Thanks, parents.
or I still think when you see all these. But it exceeds, if you take out what was in the hallway to what's still here. I think
It's the only time that we have this problem.
Right,
Or unless we're
well,
talking about something.
right.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I think we have plenty of room for that. This was,
Because there's a lot.
yep. There's about 35 seats. Been plenty. Takes a minute to get them in and out, but still
Sure cleared out.
important to them kids.
Funny how that works.
I think that's such a good idea you guys have.
Okay, let's move on to our next item on the agenda. This is the public comment period. This is an opportunity for you to address the city council regarding your concerns or your ideas that are relevant and germane to our municipal business. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and the time is now yours.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Purcell, and I want to talk about the planned development up on the hill and the rezoning. I have tried to be informed because I do think planned development is a really, really good idea. I've come to the meetings. There are still some really big issues that I see. One of the first concrete issues that I have is that we are planning one more outlet for 600 more homes. If you look up at Utah Fire Code, they recommend about 30 per outlet. So now we are going to have an additional 500 to 600 for 2 outlets. That's 700 homes for 2 outlets. If you count how many times that hill has been on fire, that seems like a hazard to me. I love that there are roads planned. I don't know how long that's going to take. It seems irresponsible to have that many homes. Also, I want to put up, who are we attracting when we build these townhomes? We just got announced this nuclear power plant. That's fantastic. I love the jobs and the diversity it's bringing, but I want diversity. I will admit, after the last improvement meeting, the first time ever, I went home and I looked at lots outside of Tremonton because I want to be in a community where people are staying. Townhomes do not promote the kind of community that I love about Tremonton. It promotes people who are here and using us as a stepping stool. Please don't make my neighborhood a stepping stool. Also, the developers have all of these promises. I love the plans that they have for sidewalks, for water. But I also know that developers often claim bankruptcy and open up under a new one. I want some kind of reassurance that even if I am getting the deal that I don't want, they are going to be upheld to those promises. And I just don't feel good that they're going to. The other thing is I heard about an article today saying that rent prices are starting to go down in Salt Lake. I think we're flooding the market with multifamily homes. Can we really support this? I understand the need for attainable housing. How many do we already have planned? Do we really need more, or can we just pause and wait for a second to see how it fluctuates? Because I don't want it to be a permanent solution. I like the single family homes. I think kids do better when they can run outside. It's better for their mental health. It's better for the future if we can do more smaller single family homes in these townhomes. So while I have tried to be informed, while I understand that there are hearts we have to pick, I think we could get creative in other solutions. Just like we talked about creative funding for the sports center, I think we can get creative on ways to get those needs met up on the hill without sacrificing zoning and density changes. 500 new homes that everyone's going to come east. That's my road. That's not the community I want. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I'm Viola Anderson, and I came back because on September 16th I came in and I voiced a concern or two. And I want to come and tell the city council and the city thank you, because they responded in kind and went and took care of the hazards that were out there by the North Park. And so there's no more rebar and stuff for the kids to fall on. And I finally feel like I got heard, the problem got taken care of, and I want to tell you guys thank you.
Thank you, Viona.
I got outvoted again. I'm Casey Allred Wolfley. I, again, did not plan to be up here. From what I understand, we could ask for you to table the discussions on Main Street till maybe January. Let us get through holiday sales, the change of the elected officials. I'm sure you guys have to be the ones to ask for that. I don't know what good it would do or if we're ready to make some kind of vote, but we're concerned about that something will happen. I'd like to be able to take a breath, take a step back, maybe talk to a lot of you personally about some of these concerns, but without wondering if I need to be, holding down a chair every city council meeting. Is that something you guys could do or would be willing to do? Yeah.
Yeah, there will be one more meeting, December meeting, unless there's not enough on the agenda to warrant a meeting. And so chances, I don't think any real decision is going, there's a lot of information to digest at this point. And so I don't think, and I'm not going to try to speak for the council, but I kind of am right now. I think that they need time to digest everything that has been presented. So the chances of something actually being, a decision being made before the end of the year, I think are probably fairly slim, I would think, so.
Slim, but there's a possibility.
Well,
There's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
but I really, there's so much information to digest at this point that I really think we need time to do it right. And so that's kind of what I think.
Okay, that's.
One in a million.
I know, right?
There's always a chance,
Okay, thank you, please, not a good chance.
but very slim. All right.
Bill Rosema, she reminded me of a couple of comments I wanted to make. That was a good presentation on Main Street. I liked it personally, and I'm just throwing my 2 cents out there. I don't like the idea of putting trees back. I was really, really happy when the trees came down. Line of sight was better. I could see better. Traffic flowed better because you could see down the road further. I don't like the idea of planters either because it takes up sidewalk space. I like nice wide sidewalks for people to walk back and forth down. A nice, clean, wide sidewalk is, in my view, really attractive. And I'll leave it at that.
Thanks.
I'm Jean Richer, and I live up on, 1000 North. And the zoning committee, and I don't remember how long ago it was that they approved that, what's it called, Loop View? That subdivision?
Overlook?
The Overlook, yes, I'm sorry. The Overlook, it was several years ago, and it was supposed to be all single-family homes. And now it's been changed, I believe, to multifamily and townhouses. And unfortunately, young people can't afford single-family homes, and so they do go to townhomes and apartments. And I know I need to thank the city council and the planning commission both You guys have heard a lot of negative response, very few positive response, but you guys have put a lot of thought into this, and I really think you guys are trying to do the best you can for the whole community, and really not just for 1000 North. When the contractor came in, I believe it was Pat and Seth, they were very informative, I felt like, and they were upfront of what they were going to do and what they expected to do, and they knew about the rocks, they knew what they were getting into. So that made a big difference to me, because it is total rocks up there, because I live right across the street of where this is going to go. But I just want to thank all of you. No matter what your decision is on that, you're going to get negative response and positive response. So I want to thank you all for hearing the positive and the negatives.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gene.
Hey, my name is Debbie Bratton, and I actually have two different topics to talk about. The first one, I want to just talk about on the hill. So I went up there just one time, and I actually got lost because I couldn't remember how to get out of there, and I had to get on my GPS to figure out how to go home. And so my big concern is that we put more houses in there, apartments or whatever, and if we do have a fire like what she said, that it's going to be total chaos, and I think that you need to have more egresses for those people to get out of there. So that's my big concern on that. And then on the other thing, on Main Street, I think that those pop-outs or whatever that you called them, from being a past snowplower, I think that would be pretty horrible to have those things in there, because it'd raise havoc on your plow, for one thing, and then it would just be bad. And then it'd take away parking. And I think that option 3 would be the best thing for the retailer, or for the shopkeepers. Let them decide how to decorate their storefronts. And then the other thing is, they keep talking about parking in the back. I keep thinking about my poor dad, 88 years old. What if he wanted to go out uptown? You're going to make that poor guy park in the back and walk how far to get to Tremont Pharmacy, let's say? It's not going to happen. So do they just stay home and not shop locally? That's all I've got to say about that.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing, or public comments, pardon me, public comments. We will go into a public hearing now. Item number 7. This is a public hearing to consider the proposed rezoning from R112 to R110 for the Overlook Development parcels 06-059-0082 and 05-175-0030 at approximately 3700 West and 1000 North in Tremont, Utah. The public hearing is now open.
This is your
Everybody's-
chance, yeas, nays.
Kind of there's this air of uncomfortableness here, so
You're up, Chris.
there you go.
Hi, I'm Laura Ware. I live up on the hill. So I have also come to a lot of these meetings. I came to the meeting with the developer, and it was very educational. I think those that put that together, so that we could learn about it. I did come away a little disheartened from that meeting. It was frustrating to see the trade-offs that I felt like we had to make as a city, right, in order to get the infrastructure that we needed with the roads and the water. I felt like we had to give a lot to the developer, right? And I know in that meeting, at least, it was mentioned that the change in the zoning would amount to an increase in 90 homes, which doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking about, hundreds of homes, potentially thousands of homes up there. But in our neighborhood right now, there's really only like 73 maybe homes. So it's an additional 400 homes plus doubling our neighborhood. And I still think even with the improvements the developer makes, it will still strain the roads. I live outside of the water loop that was mentioned in that meeting. I still worry about my water. And mostly I feel like with the PUD overlay or the zoning that the city allows, R112 traditionally shouldn't allow townhomes and twin homes and things. As far as when I did my research, that's what it sounded like to me. But with the PUD that the city does allow, we already are giving the developer so many more homes up there. Like, we're already allowing them to circumvent the zoning that's already there. And so I just wanted to voice that I am against rezoning to the R110. I just feel like we've already given the developer more than the current R112 zoning without the PUD would allow. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, I'm going to close.
All right.
Okay, all right, you just by the nick of time.
All right, so my name is Joshua McMillan. I live up on, up above 1000 North there in the neighborhood. And big open spaces is one of the things that attracted me to that place. Just, that's the beauty of it. And I know some level of growth is inevitable. I know it's already been zoned. But yeah, when it comes to just crowding that out, it makes me sad, and so I'm against it. That's where I'm at.
Thank you. Josh, thank you. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. And thank all of you, all of those who have shared their thoughts and opinions. Those thoughts and opinions will be taken into account as we move through the meeting today. So with that, we'll move on to the new council business. Discussion and consideration of approving resolution number 25-54, amending the fees and fines schedule, including but not limited to the library, changes in the library fees. And as I understand, and as you've read through the descriptions, we're just eliminating the late book fees. So the book that I took out of the library when I was 12 years old, and for some reason never returned it. I guess that's, the fees have been exhausted. Well, we're not going to worry about it anymore, I guess. So anyway, so we need to either, council, it's up to you. What are we going to do?
I got one thing to say, y'all, Mayor,
Yeah.
is this is what the state's going to too. Like Cynthia said, all these libraries are going to it. You spend way more money trying to get your $6 in late fees for a $3 buck. So I'll make a motion.
It costs more to administer than it is.
Yeah.
Right. I'll make a
the
motion
seven-
we approve 25-54.
Motion by Wes and seconded by Brett. Let's see, we're going to start over here with Brandon?
Yes, for me. For Brandon.
Bo, yes.
Blair, yes.
Brett, yes.
Yeah.
Wes, yes.
Yep. Okay, motion passes. Item B, discussion and consideration of improving resolution number 25-55, authorizing the chief of police to approve off-duty employment of police officers and to execute agreements with third-party entities for security purposes. And Lindsay, can you, Chief, I didn't see you walk in.
I didn't either. Hello, chief.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I can answer any questions. A little backdrop to this is most police departments already have this. It's allowed by the state statute. And it just incentivizes guys to work for us because we have secondary employment opportunities. What I'll do as the chief is I'll look at it, make sure it does, basically that the cities are not liable for anything, that there's sound legal practices. We'll run it through the attorney and then we'll approve it if it makes sense for all parties. This could include like hospital security gigs, or like the DI has a need. Right now, we don't have a lot on the horizon. We do have one, and it's limited hours, so shouldn't have a major impact on anything with the city.
Does this also include the reverse, your officers being able to go out and perform outside of their scope of practice and take on other jobs?
Yeah, it's basically just secondary employment. So our policy requires them to fill out a secondary employment form. This just allows them to use the certifications and their expertise to work in security jobs. I don't
On
know
their
if that
days
makes-
off.
Yeah, on their days off. And part of it, what my policy says, is that it won't affect with their primary duty assignment. So they won't be calling in sick to go work a secondary, things like that. And it could be revoked at any time if it causes problems.
But you'd be actually overseeing the process itself.
I'll be actually just approving it or disapproving it. So like if someone reaches out and they ask for our help with the security detail, I'll ask, one, I'll make sure they're insured, they're licensed and insured, and then we'll make sure that we run it through our legal. So I'm just kind of like the mediator to make sure it makes sense for everybody involved and make sure they're going to cover our guys if something escalates or whatever.
That other police departments are using?
Yeah,
this
currently
practice?
Brigham does it, Unified, Murray, South Salt Lake, pretty much almost every department has some type of secondary employment like this. So it's pretty across the board.
You don't have any other concerns with how it's written up?
Nope. One of my requirements for whatever business is that they don't hold the city legally liable if anything happens and that they're insured. So not really.
And it'll be a contractual sort of agreement that both parties sign and, or how do you know
So
that?
basically, they'd provide me with that paperwork, their insurance, their business, as well as the indemnification from our cities. So it really doesn't involve the city and it alleviates any responsibility on the cities. It would truly just be a secondary employment opportunity for our officers. A lot of them have second jobs. It's pretty normal in our profession. A lot of them are plumbers, electricians, framers. This allows them to do something more related to their field that they're qualified to do in security.
Counsel?
I make a motion, we approve Resolution 25-55 for the police department's off-duty time.
I'll second.
A motion by Blair and seconded by Bo. Bo, you're up.
Bo, yes.
Larry, yes.
Brett, yes.
Wes, yes.
Brandon, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chief. Discussion and consideration of approving resolution number 2556, appointing Colby Page to serve on the library board. Let's see, Bo, do you have anything to
I
add?
don't have anything
that?
to add. No.
You feel good about it?
Julie got a little busy in her other job, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
Okay, do you want to?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2556, appointing Colby Page to serve on the library board.
Okay,
I'll second it.
seconded, Bo, let's see, Bo made the motion and seconded by Wes.
Larry,
Larry?
yes.
You're up.
Oh, Brett, yes, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wes, yes.
I'd be worried there for a minute.
Bo, yes.
Okay, everybody voted yes. All right. Discussion and consideration of approving ordinance number 25-21, rezoning parcels 06, 059, 0082, and 05-175, 0030, located at 3800 West and 1000 North, from residential district R112, excuse me, to residential district R110. Council, do we have any discussion on this?
Hot
A lot of discussion on this.
Yeah. Maybe I'll report on the open house that we had last week. There was a lot of discussion. It's kind of a hard topic to quickly summarize, right? Because
your
there was a lot of discussion and back and forth. And I first of all want to thank all the citizens that came to that. I think it was super informational. It was really good to hear your feedback. And so thank you for that feedback. It really helps us as a council when we have, as representatives of you, to have your voice and understand your concerns is critical. So thank you for showing up for that. Where to start? For those that weren't there, do we need to go through that? For
Whatever you feel like you need.
I guess, council, what questions do you have?
My question, I was a
I could
little bit
summarize
in
what
on
was
the
talked about.
planning commission, but I thought the developer at the one meeting I went to, and I was out of town for this other one, was that road problem. You know how you go up there and get stuck and you have to go around, that's stupid. But I thought that was gonna fix that. Was that not, is the developer here?
So there was a long discussion on roads and
So that there's more loops to hook in and go around?
yeah, so have you seen the transportation master plan? On there's a lot of diagrams for the roads and where they're anticipating those. There was a lot of discussion and concerns from the citizens about timing on those. When it goes in, when are those roads gonna actually go in, and the timing of the project, right? So that was a big topic of discussion. Jeff, do you wanna quickly overview the road situation?
Yeah. I can give it a shot.
But most of my questions would be that and the infrastructure because of like the water tank and all that stuff. If that's a win on my side. So I
guess we'll go down one at a time and hope my voice lasts. Start with the roads. The transportation master plan has shown kind of I think in there it's Street F, which is that northernmost road, ends up kind of creating this umbrella patch that grabs all the other stubs and will tie into 2000 West once 2000 West starts going up the hill. With the amount of focus we are receiving for residential development on the hill, there really is just one small strain, and I'm working on getting in contact with those landholders to see if they'd either be willing to sell or at least grant an easement for that road to tie in, because we've got 3 of the 4 property owners on board, to help tie that road in, and that will help with giving a way to get everything over to 2000 West, which is gonna be the main road, hopefully bringing people off the hill. And that's what we've sized it for with the amount of development that we've kind of been talking about with landowners up there. In terms of the water tank, if you can see, there's a red contour that goes all the way through, and it's, thank you, Cynthia. Excuse me. Anything above that line will have to be serviced off of the new water tank. And so with the split in there, and we'll work on putting some timing on the water tank in the development agreement, this is put in. But they won't be able to build north of that red line until a new tank is on there, because you'll get past what the state's minimum PSI requirement is per connection. So we've already been in preliminary discussions with his engineer and with the property owner where the new tank goes, and we'll figure out what size, and our city engineer will be primarily responsible for that. But Carl, was it 2 million? Yeah. Two of us are pretty confident that it's 2 million gallon tank, which is a pretty hefty size. And that's enough to service not just this development, but everyone on the hill with a lot more head differential. The other thing that will help, and this was expanding on the water, is creating some more loops on the water line through like 1100 North, and then there was some misnomenclature on the plan, but the two roads that tie in there on the east part, that'll too will help just create some redundancy in the water service system in that area, which will help alleviate some of the service problems we've received from the public.
Secondary, how are we gonna?
So with the new tank, there will be an outdoor reservoir to start pumping secondary water up to, and then it'll feed back down through the system into the hill that way.
And we'll loop that in with what we have there already.
And that'll be the first stage in really changing how our culinary system is fed, because the hope is as we build up the hill, we'll start having enough reservoirs up there to handle a vast majority of the city's secondary needs going into the future, and it'll mean we can change out what pumps we have at the canals right now on the road.
So, just one on the secondary, where this is up on the hill there, are there water shares sufficient to handle the secondary at this point?
There's gonna have to be, or else they can't build.
So
that's
so
like,
where
that's-
are we on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's not our problem, Mayor. They gotta give us the shares for it.
So the
They
other
gotta
question
find
I
the
have,
shares.
the other question I have is the egress on, I can't read the,
3,100 or.
is that 3,100?
Which one?
With those townhomes there, there's, I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot.
So there aren't any townhomes north of 1100 North, so.
How many?
There aren't any townhomes, all the townhomes.
What are these then?
So Cynthia, pick a color and we'll go through it. Those are twin homes, so just duplexes.
Okay,
Those are single family
Single-family,
homes that
yeah.
share one driveway. And those are all of the townhomes are clustered.
well, that's
down
what I
at the
was
start.
pointing at, is the,
Well, it's
okay, so
hard.
how many of those are there?
I did the math. If you scroll up to the top, or even associates,
there.
put a little site summary. 218.
So one of the things that was discussed in that open house was that the rights that they currently have with R112 and the current zoning ordinances, et cetera, would still allow them to put that townhome section down below.
Yeah,
And then what would most likely happen if this was declined is that they would have the right still to put in, a lot of these twins would go more to the single family, right? And then the trade-off of that is that for that additional 90 doors, the city is getting out the infrastructure. The road on 1000, the looping of the pipe and water. So a lot of the current infrastructure problems would be solved by that additional 90. So I think it's not a matter of whether or not townhomes go in. It's rather what happens to these upper lots, if that makes sense, given that whether or not we decide to change the zoning. Does that make sense?
yeah. So I guess my I guess my point, what I was trying to get at here was the egress on the one road with that many, you know, when we were in another life, when we were developing, seemed like it was like 70 homes on a egress.
30.
30?
Yeah, but once the
So can you just explain that? I'm not trying, sort of just wanting to learn.
with fire code, you can have 30 doors of any kind, apartment, townhome, single family, any, before you have to have a secondary egress for emergency vehicles. And so it's likely why they may stretch a road up to 1100 North, but I still think just to have that emergency egress, and to get there past that 30 doors, there isn't a possible, but I mean, this is a concept plan, so I don't know if it's gonna stay. But there is a second outlet based off of tying in with the commercial spot there in the bottom left corner, that could be counted. But like I said, that's a detail we'll work through in the, as we go through preliminary and final plat on what their approach is, so. But that's something the DRC's very good at making sure we meet now.
All right. That answered my question. Thank you.
So there's going to be a fair amount of impact on infrastructure on this, you know. Carl, did you have some information on that impact in this area?
I have general information on our culinary water supply.
Okay.
Want me to go over that right now?
I'll switch you.
How long does this play out? How many years before that's done?
Depends on demand. Does that depend on demand or?
Yeah, it depends on absorption is what we call it.
Okay.
So you said 5 to 7, correct?
By 10, I thought he said.
5 to 10, you said?
5 to 7, possibly 10.
Okay.
Okay, I just thank you, Brett, for letting me prepare some information in advance. This is not gonna take long, but it's kind of visual, and I think it helps look at what our water supply is. You go to the next slide. Okay, what you see is kind of in the orange color there. That is what our existing water supply is. It's a great water supply. It's very certain. And the blue has been our water use for the past 12 months. The part that concerns me is how much it peaks in the summer. So there's still a lot of outdoor use on culinary water. So this is just the culinary supply right here. So let's go to the next slide. So if we did some pretty reasonable things, get the whole city on secondary and then convince people to use that, we can knock it down significantly to what the green level is there. You'll see there's still a peak. There will always be that increase there. But a city that becomes fully, has 100% availability for secondary water should be able to knock that peak down a lot.
Could I insert a comment on this? I think it's very relevant. I've been tracking these numbers as well very closely, and what I've learned is as a result of the secondary that we've this year, last year was about 100. We I don't know if saved is the right word to get, but we would have exceeded. We increased that capacity by about 190 million gallons last year. This year, I just ran those numbers today, and it's 220 million. And so that is sort of the impact of secondary in, that I think is, and you're right, Carl,
That increase is due to expansion of secondary connections?
yeah, so if you were, you know, yeah, it's expansion of the secondary, and by using the secondary, we have built more capacity in our culinary by about 220 million gallons.
Yeah, this is, and I've just got this in gallons per minute flow. Will you go back one, actually? That's forward, that's okay. Whatever arrow you just did.
The other one.
Do the other one. There you go. So the limit, you can, as you see there, July is, it's getting close to 90% of what that water supply is. You usually don't wanna, you wanna give yourself 10% safety factor there. So we could develop 200 gallons a minute more, and then we'd be at 90%. Go forward too. More. So this, again, this just shows the comparison of those two. We want to knock that peak down to the green. Let's go on to the next slide. That pink line there shows what the 90% is. So if we were to get that use down, and I'm pretty confident we can do that, not too difficultly. It will take a couple of years, but we'll get there. Then you have that much additional development or, future use for the culinary supply. Let's go to the next slide. There is one more scary thing to all of this, and this goes back to water line replacement and repair. We are losing 42% of our culinary water right now, meaning there's a discrepancy of 42% between what our master meter readings are and all of our customer use added up. That's huge. That's really significant. And I'm pleased that the council made the decision to do a fill station or a few fill stations. That wasn't making up the whole 42%, but that's something. We want to hunt down, I want to hunt down all of the unmetered uses and that kind of thing, meter them, and information is critical, and it translates into dollars, and it translates into wet supply, and it's really important. So what I've got shown there, I've knocked the green down even lower if we can reduce our 42% loss to 12%. And I think replacing that 4.4 miles should help with that effort. The question is how much, I don't know. But if we can hunt down what we don't have metered and we replace what we know is problematic already, that will help our culinary supply a lot.
We had the opportunity, you took us on a tour the other day of the new ASR project. It's going to be, looks like it's getting close to being completed. The whole idea of that is to preserve water that's going from our springs. It's just right now going into the Bear River. And what we want to do is we want to put that into the aquifer and save that water for future use. Will that use of the ASR, I think I asked you this question the other day, will that use of the ASR actually increase our capacity? Right now we're looking at about 34 million gallons, I think a week that we use. That's our capacity. Will that actually increase that capacity?
Yeah, will you go to the next slide? Great question, Mayor. So I have a summary and then some recommendations. So currently, only about 200 gallons per minute is what we could approve water supply wise if we did nothing to change any of this. Under the idealized scenario that I talked about, if we could cut that peak down and reduce water loss to about 12%, which would be way more reasonable, that would free up 1,750 gallons a minute, like probably about double, it would double what that usage would be. It would double our our capacity there, which would be amazing. Here's your ASR answer, Mayor. Developing a permanent ASR project could add 300 gallons per minute for 6 months during peaking period. And the reason why that would work really nicely is even under that idealized scenario, you still have that peak there. And the difference between kind of the shoulder season use and the July use is the perfect reason why we should do that ASR project. And that would handle that curve pretty nicely. And then additionally, we could purchase some additional water. Bear River Water Conservancy District has 500 acre feet a year available, which would add another 310 gallons a minute. Will you go to the next slide, Cynthia? This is the last one, I promise. Recommendations. This is what I want you to think about. My first recommendation is to reduce the excessively high water loss by replacing key water lines and eliminating all unmetered uses and connections. I think you're pretty supportive of doing that. The second recommendation is make secondary water available to the entire city. That's in the plan. We're doing that over the next 2 years. Everywhere in the city will have secondary water available. And at that point, we can maybe make some decisions like number 3, increase culinary water rates to influence residents to use secondary water over culinary water.
Could we look at that differently? 3, rather than increasing culinary water rates, why not reduce secondary water rates? Because right now I'm seeing there's no benefit. I've got all my properties on secondary, and it's as if they're still on culinary when I get my bill.
So they're set at.
Come up to culinary and see the difference.
Operational cost.
I'm seeing a close comparison, Wes. It's not significant enough for it to be painful. That's why we're not seeing people spend the money to tap into their secondary, because there's a cost there as well if you can't do it yourself. That's a fact.
Secondary is not cheap. It isn't. There's the notion that it is cheap or even cheaper than culinary is not accurate. What it does though, the reason why we do this is because culinary supply is harder to come by. It's better quality water. It's limited. We're using 25% of the number of irrigation shares that we have today right now. That's all we're using right now is 25% of those shares. So we need to, from a natural resource standpoint, we need to conserve our culinary water, and we have to clean up our infrastructure so that we're not losing that water. And we need to continue this plan that we've done to get the whole city on secondary water to preserve the culinary water. That is the why of the whole reason why the city has secondary in the first place. Because it's much more plentiful supply than the culinary. And then the other recommendations I would have is to evaluate our currently pilot ASR program, which we're going to be doing over the next 3 years, and try and make it permanent. And also purchase any additional culinary type water that we can, that's available. Those are the options that we have. Doing recommendations 1 and 2 is equivalent to buying like a huge amount of additional water supply. That would be millions of dollars worth. And we can implement these recommendations that won't cost that much and free up that supply right there. To me, it's a no-brainer.
And that'll come, Brandon, that'll come when, the only thing we don't have on secondary right now is Friedal's, Garfield's, and then, what's you guys, Holmgren South.
Holmgren East.
And then some up on the mountain. We don't have any secondary up there past Bob Dutry's and all of that. But everything else is on secondary right now, or is available.
I'll add to that on number 5. We've made some pretty good moves there to start seeking grant funding for, the ability to purchase water rights. So there's some things in motion.
Which would actually go towards number one as well.
Right. Yep.
Theoretically, if we were to, if people were to adopt the secondary, that would level that, our culinary would be, there would be ample culinary if, it's just that trade-off between, people adopting this. I watched it last year and I watched it this year. We do use more secondary over last
Yeah,
year.
it's growing, which is good.
It's growing, but it's maybe not growing as fast as I'd like to see it grow.
Yeah.
So in tying this discussion back to this subdivision.
Right.
If you go back, I believe it's your first slide, you'll notice that during that peak in July, if we start adding all of these homes, and I realize it's a 5 to 10 year, and so hopefully we'll be putting a lot of these processes into place which will make up for that. But do you see that having a negative impact on this peak in here, or do you think we'll be able to make the adjustments we need while this development's taking place to not put ourselves in trouble with water?
Great question. So I'm trying to say that until the peaks go down, I wouldn't approve any more than 200 gallons a minute, which would be about 950 homes.
Okay.
And if we get industrial use in, that could be, industrial use varies
All
from
bets are
one
off.
industry to another. So, I mean, that's just everything for now.
Okay.
That's all I got.
How many doors was that you said?
900.
950. And that's assuming that those 950 homes are on secondary water.
I got a question. Maybe you can help me with this, Bo. So you stated that, or someone stated, under R12, the developers can put in the current condominiums on the lower side, and they can do the duplexes on the higher end. Have we seen a concept of what the R12 development would look like?
Well,
I'm asking anybody, but I think
by
Bo's
the-
closest.
I mean, just-
knowledge.
We're kind of lucky to have this much actually at this phase of the whole process. The developer's kind of saying, hey, we want to be forthright on what we're going to build here. So even like the open house that we had, was kind of saying to the public, hey, we're interested in building more of what you want. So it costs a lot in engineering, and we're not even to that phase yet. So this is a concept map
But
to
this
say,
is
hey,
a-
this is generally speaking what we're going to do.
But this is a
right?
concept of R10.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
And so I just want to make sure myself and the public understand what the potential benefits are from going from R12 to R10. Because there's already, I think, in our minds, the negatives are in place even under the R12. Correct?
With any development.
With any development and with high-density housing, correct? So I just want to be clear on what are the clear benefits. If we were to vote to go to R10, what are the clear benefits for the city and for the neighbors that live in that area if it were to go to R10? Can anybody speak to those?
And I did some math, and instead of using, it's a 20% increase from R 110, R 112 down to R 110, rather than the doors, because it could fluctuate a little, and I don't want people holding me to, if they put in 91 doors, then.
Yeah.
So, but it's a difference of 20%, just FYI.
So there's, the benefits are the infrastructure paid for by the developer, right? We're asking them to pay for more for increased density. If we don't, we're going to have to figure out how to So 1,000 North was a big concern. That was something that the residents were really concerned about. No sidewalks. 1,000 North is too small. It needs to be, widened and made appropriate. So that is one of the things that is going to be asked for that increased density. The second was looping the culinary water line. Currently, it's at the end of the hill, and there's a lot of just pressure. By the time it makes it up to the Scott's home, there's 40 pounds of pressure up there, he said, right? And so in the evening when everybody's up there bathing at the same time of taking their shower before bed, there's no pressure, or you can't wash the dishes and do that, right? So we currently have a problem up there, right, infrastructurally. So one of the things that developers talking about was looping that line so that you're not just pushing water uphill. It has that backwards pressure, and it's going to come down actually right from the water tank. So it's actually going to solve some of the water pressure issues that are already on the hill. That's what's been interesting to me, is that, because realistically, and I've said this and even been quoted for it, we kind of have to choose our heart here. Right, we already currently have an infrastructure problem up on the hill.
Shouldn't change water pressure, that should be elevation dependent, 100%. But it would change water quality.
Quality and capacity, because when you loop, you get.
Yeah, yes, and capacity. I just don't want to promise people that are at the top that they're gonna have high water pressure, because they won't.
I think there was discussion around that,
Until there's a tank. The tank could solve the water pressure.
Well, I mean, the higher you are, the lower your pressure is. We're used to having pretty high water pressure here in town, most parts of town. Obviously up on the hill, not so much.
Would the tank on the hill solve water pressure issues?
I mean,
If it's up 100
It's a
feet
half
above.
pound per foot on the elevation.
it would be, the higher up you put it, the better it is for the people higher up, but then we're fighting it and we're breaking it as it goes down, because if it gets over
You get
110 pounds, that's pretty high. And every home should have a pressure reducing valve, has to, in their home. But I mean, that kind of pressure damages people's appliances. I would be I'm always really in favor of anything that can be done to help with the infrastructure. It is such a battle, and you guys know this better than me even, to get anything infrastructure-wise. Wes is nodding his head. And so that is, anything that can be done that can help out would be tremendous.
And along that,
And that was the discussion in the open house with the residents, right? Was, hey, we've got these issues, infrastructure. We can either way, as a city, we're going to have to provide general infrastructure up on the hill to accomplish, right? Do we want to allow for a little bit higher density to be able to pull off asking the developer for that? Or are we going to try to raise property tax or do a special district or some other way? Cash has to come to be able to pay for that infrastructure, right? And so how are we going to do that? And you know, police force, just since I'm noticing, we are going to have additional costs, which will also have new additional property tax, and we got to be really good stewards about setting aside with our new property tax the increased demand for public safety. And so, you know, Chief Cordova took and put all the data together for about what that would look like based off of the other development that's similar to this over across from the golf course, right? So he took numbers of actual calls and anticipated, and it'd be about another 1.5 officers. 1.5, right? Since I got that. Perfect. Use it when you have it. So.
And the impact of the fire department would be one new fireman.
And one new fire.
Yeah, they're about 1 per 1,200 citizens, so.
Right.
Told me 1 per 1,000 today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think we're.
So in my mind, that's what we're talking about is, do we want to increase the density a little bit to pay for the infrastructure issues? Or do we want to, as a city, figure out how to fund it, right? Which opens up truth in taxation and other things that we don't, I don't necessarily want to go down that road if we don't have to increase property tax to be able to put in the 1,000 North specifically. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about infrastructure that should have been negotiated in the past as developments went in or planned for that are currently not. We're behind right now. And so it's kind of a hard situation, right? I don't like it.
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm a resident that's currently live on that hill, what needs to be very clear for me is the fact that it's already zoned for R12. What could and will happen to that property as it stands? Okay, that's a question I have to ask myself. And
What was said in the open house most likely would be that something similar to that plan would come back, but instead of that higher density in the top with the orange, it would come back as those others as green, right?
So there'd
Similar to
be-
the other ones.
So there'd be more single-family homes.
Yeah.
Correct.
But the fact is, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but the fact is, under R12, there's a lot that developers can currently do. In an R10, there are some benefits to the city.
That's what we're trading. Infrastructure for a density shift. That's the
And I don't
trade-off.
think just the city. I think if I was up there and my water pressure could go or have another way out, that would be a big deal to me. I really do. So,
When I say city, I mean the community.
yeah, but
The
I mean.
entire city
But
collectively.
even the people on the hill is gonna benefit from if the road gets redone and some of that, to put up with some of the hassle. I'm not saying it'll all be, but.
Now, another question of infrastructure is, it's no secret we're looking at going even further up on the hill with some additional homes. And so we have a lot of water that comes off that hill, and so we're gonna need to have some really good storm drains and whatnot to pull that water off, right?
Yeah,
So
and
we're gonna need, I imagine we're gonna need some pretty good storm drain
Basins.
basins and pipe that are pretty thick to bring all that water off if we get that really bad storm, right?
I don't know if our pipes down at the bottom would take it all the way.
that's,
to the top.
that's the concern I have, not just the storm drain pipes, but the sewer pipes as well.
Pipe too.
So I guess where I'm headed with this is we need to make sure that as we're,
So
and
we're-
maybe it's over a little bit more, but we need to make sure we've got some lines going up to that area. So we're not having
We're
to go
solving
back
some
through there.
utility concerns, but I'm not convinced, at least, I'm not super familiar with this concept and this development either. I've not been, involved in those conversations. Maybe one conversation is all, but there's other utility issues that we ought to look at, because bringing that amount of new development up high impacts our existing infrastructure down low. And they could put in a wonderful thing up high, and if we can't handle it down low, it's gonna back up. That's a problem. And I don't know that we've,
Is
I
that?
know I haven't looked at that. I'm sure they've started looking at that, but.
So when we're talking about infrastructure and impact, then that should be sort of factored into,
We need to see some,
Factored out
we just
into all
need to
of
see
this.
some model results. We just need to see some modeling, not just on the water supply and the things, but the storm drains and the sewer. And sewer's big.
That's all gotta come to 1,200 and down, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the.
We got issues
That's
there
the
now.
potential choking point right there.
Now, but our impact fees can pay for that oversizing and preparing for that, correct? From this.
They should.
well, I'm just,
But I've told you this before, there's a big delay between when we collect those and when we have to put it in. You have to put it in up front, which means we go into debt and then hope that we recover that later on. And that's just the way that game is played.
That's my concern right there.
That's
We're not talking about whether or not we're gonna have 500 homes on the hill or not. We're talking about whether it's 20% more for the developer to pay for that infrastructure. That's what we're talking about tonight.
And if that's what we're
Those
talking
homes are
about,
coming, and we're preparing for that, and there will not be building permits issued, or, you know, they can't move forward without these answers coming to us, right? Like, water has to be available, and anytime it puts us under our levels of service, that would not move forward in the natural process. What we're talking about today is the difference between this 20% increased density to pay for infrastructure costs. That's
and that would
that's how I
likely be a net
understand.
benefit.
So I'm not for or against it. I'm just trying to surface the reality of what we're voting on, right? Because I have heard that several times that, like, this is, we don't want townhome, we don't want 500. Those aren't necessarily the decisions we're making. We're talking about infrastructure trade-offs that we're asking the developer to take care of, and they're asking for 20% increased density to do so.
Does that include, if I'm looking here at 1,000 and the sewer and storm drain and everything going along there, is that something we should be looking at, upsizing as a result? Would that,
Further down, it's even further down is where the upsizing.
further to the east?
Will that go to 1,000 West, or will that go to Main and then down? I'd have to think.
That should go to 1,000 West.
That's where the bottleneck is, further to the east?
Yeah.
South of
And to
1,000.
the
South.
south.
Well, that parking lot can hold a lot of water.
Okay.
I think we got a lot of still unanswered questions, even, it's like we say, we'd hate
So-
to get that up there and.
I also
and
want
have one
to
of them-
voice one more concern that was brought up in the open house. I think is really important. Sean had mentioned that his road going to McDonald's or coming from McDonald's up, but I don't know that the road
22.
it's already trafficked a lot. So as a
2300.
council, we're gonna want to be sure that we're thinking about that road because it actually gets used a lot with this, right? So
BR Road's gonna go around there too.
correct.
Okay, that's gonna someday tie into the top.
I just want to make sure that the voices that came were heard to you guys also.
Right.
And that was one of the notes that I had here to make sure that that was stated.
Okay, any other discussion on this? We need to vote? Anything else you want to, council?
Do we have enough information?
I don't know if we do or not. That's you guys' decision.
I mean, them last couple of comments there with the sewer upsizing on 1,000 West.
But doesn't the sewer have to be addressed before they get so many? I mean, there's a potential it could go, the sewer could go down the other way if they annexed out the other way and go to them pump stations.
Well, yeah. It'd have to cross the freeway again though to put it that way, and I know that we got issue problems on 1,000 West.
But I'm
sewer.
with Bo. The difference is, are we doing the R112 or the 10? Because the 12's still gonna go in, we still have the same sewer problem, right?
That's my concern, is that if we say no to this and we don't get those infrastructure additions, that we're gonna need to allocate a lot of budget, which most likely, I mean, you were all in the budget meetings last year, right? So that's what makes this hard, is we're choosing our hard as a council, right? I don't want that much density up there either. I don't know if anybody does. What that also means, if we say no, is that we need to come up with funding to figure out how to pay for that infrastructure. And so, irregardless, we've got some we're going to have hard issues to solve, no matter how we vote. We are. And we can either do it now, or we can, just which form of it do we want? It's choose our hard. And that, it's unfortunate, but it's a brutal reality, right? So generally speaking, in the open house at the end, again, I'm speaking in generals, and this is my perception, could be totally off, was some citizens were kind of on board. I thought some of them that were on board, though, tonight stated that they're not still. So
I
that does,
received some texts back from some of those that you thought were on, and they've kind of indicated they're not, so.
yeah, so what's important to me is that we represent our constituents, right? We represent them. We need to vote accordingly. So is the debacle. How do you know when, as a city council, how do you know when you have the majority of the citizens' perspective given to you?
Well, and the information too,
Mhm.
the information to make a valid vote. And so that's, I think that's part of what Wes's argument is.
Yeah. I mean, people down on the south end of town, they don't care about the mountain. People on the east side of town, they don't care about the mountain.
When on the south side
People
of
on
the
the mountain
mountain,
care about the mountain more than anybody. I'm not saying completely don't care, because it's gonna involve the whole town. But when they start building in your backyard and you don't want them townhomes and all that, then you'll come to here. But the people that it's not affecting, don't come down and say, I don't want townhomes in my backyard. Never have.
So if we, let's just say that this stays R112, can you put it into, what is, you made it really clear what it is really, we're choosing our hard, you said. But if we leave it at R112, does that mean that we, we have 90 less units?
20%.
20% less.
Yeah.
Is that
20%
90?
less.
Not 20% less units, but we're still looking at townhomes and,
yeah.
I don't want to say condominiums. I don't know if that's a
Yeah,
word.
developers are going to develop the stock that is moving, right? That is in demand.
Well, that's, yeah, no kidding.
And they have that right when they own property to do
Yeah.
so. So we do have to.
But does this, so does this, the 20% less, does that, what are we giving up infrastructure-wise in terms of, do we not put in the sidewalks? Do we not put in the, what is it that we don't do?
And Jeff might be able to speak better to this because he's in the detail of it. But the Road 1000, some of the infrastructure costs on water.
The struggle we get put in is the residents have expressed a need to get better infrastructure, to get things that handle the traffic better up there. And with the 20%, there's leverage to ask the developer to pay for more of it. At the R112 where it's at, I mean, how do we not go and try to find the funding to improve 1000 North after the hours of discussions we've had with the public? So the city's able to do that, and at the brink of starting the budget discussion at the new calendar year, we end up having to prioritize a project, and what does that cost us? We don't know, and I know two of you at least won't have to find out either. That we end up having to find a way to pay for that project. Is it through impact fee reimbursements? Where's the money coming from for the project if the developer isn't funding it himself? That's the trade-off. They'll still have to put a water tank in, but by state code, they only have to put in a water tank for their development. They don't have to put in a water tank with enough capacity to help the rest of the residents on the hill or future residents that might be on the hill. And same thing, they don't have to do any roadway improvements except for what their frontage is. So yeah, they'll pull the utilities and it's left in the city's pockets then to pay to finish the pavement and the roadway section and the curb, gutter, sidewalk. All that now comes to the city, but if we permit 90 more doors or 20% extra, we can negotiate with the development agreement and the what's covered by the developer outside of what he has to do to meet state and building codes.
Does the, okay, so does the R110, are we talking, I heard the talk about completing the sidewalk along 1,000. Are we widening the road? Is this part of the agreement in upsizing, the upsize, I guess, sewer and water and storm drain and all that kind of thing? Is that what that's the benefit? All of that?
I mean, they've got to pull those lines and utilities up to them anyway, but there's no spot in code that says they have to put in the curb and gutter and sidewalk. I mean, they just have to patch the
But that's part of
trenches.
that would be part of this agreement.
Yeah. And so if that's part of the agreement is we've come a little way and granted them 20% more doors, so what can they pay now and that the city doesn't have to? And we'll go through and look and I mean, doing off-site hydrologic studies is very common, and see what kind of flows they need to be able to handle. I've done multiple through my times as an engineer before this life that you have to account for. I mean, that's part of hillside development is you have to account for the water that is obviously going to be flowing in from runoff, and that's even as it continues to go up. So I mean, I trust Chris and Carl and me and the rest of the DRC staff will vet through those and because we know this is not the last development on Radio Hill either. So we either figure it out with this one or get to learn it in the next one. And that means for all of the utility lines that may need to be upsized or getting it to the treatment plant.
So would it be,
Or a ditch.
would it be possible to, we've talked in sort of concept and we've talked in, that we put in the sidewalk, we put in the widen the road and do the other things as a result of this agreement. But what I haven't heard is dollars and cents. Is there sort of would that be possible to say, yeah, there's going to be X number of dollars worth of infrastructure improvement that the city wouldn't have to come up with if.
Not at this level. I mean, we'll get to that level of detail, but I mean,
Could that be done to where, we could, I know it's not at this level. I
Yeah.
know, but we're kind of driving into that. That's where we're heading. with
yeah,
this.
it depends on which construction season you get to put the road in. We've seen it as a city council when we put things out for bid and they come in high or they come in much
Well,
lower.
I get all that,
So-
I understand, but
the longer we stay at this one, the more expensive the road becomes in general, but at this point, we don't know what the roadway would cost, but we could get that information.
So if I may, Mayor, I think the development agreement is what will specify what they will take care of and what we will take care of. And right now, we don't have those answers.
Yeah.
And I think we want those answers prior to making the decision. And so that's the conundrum we're in.
that's kind of where I was getting at.
Yeah.
That's the road I was driving down, but I think that, what we have before us tonight is what Bo was talking about. What we have before us tonight is, do we change the zoning from R112 to R110? And that really is the decision that is before us. So, there's a lot of work that would need to be done between here and there. But I think Bo laid this out very well, that really what we're looking at is, these improvements that should have been done, but they weren't, ought to be, we've got an opportunity to improve those areas right there. So with this zoning change. So I guess now it's kind of up to you guys.
Is it,
Want to do.
is it, at what point is the development agreement brought forth in front of council
So we'll,
correlative to the rezone? Because there is kind of a contingency there, right?
yeah, so the development agreement would come, is part of, okay. We would start working on it now. We would go through preliminary plat, which really sets the roadmap for what the whole subdivision is, and we continue to go through. And then whatever their first phase is, they don't get approval to start on that phase unless the council has ratified the development agreement. So they don't really get to begin construction on the project until the development agreement has come back to you for adoption.
And if the rezone has been done, what leverage do we have?
A lot more. I mean, some actually. I mean, right now it's just they are following they could follow the zoning code and you're talking, I mean, we're left there. And I know we've talked about the road, but it'd be very easy with 90 less units where they just give us open space. And now the city also gets to go build the park. And we've already had multiple discussions with Zach and Carl of other city parks that are coming online here in the next couple of years. Where do we find the funding to build 4 parks now? Whereas with the 20% extra, we get a park with amenities, and with the Parks Master Plan almost done, we'd have a good dollar value of what that's, what dollar value that has brought to our park system. So it's, I mean, 20% more gives quite a bit of leverage for me and the DRC to go through and negotiate something, whereas not permitting the rezone really just, we have to make sure they're meeting the standards, and now the city's left to start picking up odds and ends.
If we were to change it to an R110, can the developer just turn around and sell the property?
I mean, technically, yes, but with my understanding of how they've been, of where they're at in the current contract negotiations, very unlikely. Just because there is already the separate landowners and they've already contracted with a development group to come in. So I think they're past the point of looking to resell just because of a rezone. Well, that's a great question. I'm not gonna lie. On the bingo card of questions I thought I'd answer tonight, that wasn't one of them.
See, that happened in River's Edge.
Should have asked that question before we all voted, like early November.
All right. I think we've hopefully got enough information.
If any of you do have questions, the developer's engineer and the development team are here if you'd like to address any comments to them as well.
I just want to state that if we leave it, I don't think there's going to be, we have other roads in town that need sidewalks. It's been longer, more traffic. I don't think we're going to grease the squeaky wheel and say, oh, we didn't do it, so we're going to pay for it. Because I don't think we have the money to do that. So we won't be, if that sidewalk and all that's up there a big deal, I don't think it's in our near future to do that. And not with what I've seen in the last couple of years, so.
That is my biggest concern, that in the past, we have not adequately asked the developers to take on infrastructural, and we are, and that's what makes it entertaining to me to look at this, is that
I think up on the hill, you look at some that, a lot of them were just 2 or 3 houses here, 2 or 3 houses. So they wouldn't have been a development to do that. They were individually that collectively made a development. So I don't think anybody dropped the ball there. It just wasn't at this level.
The county that the city annexed in up
Right.
there.
Same old thing.
Right.
It is just part of the evolution that Tremont is seeing in its growth pattern. That, I mean, what got Tremont here were local developers doing 2, 3, 4 lot subdivisions, you know, here and there, but we didn't really grow much. I mean, 2, maybe 3% annually. Now we're at a point where it's in the 5, 6, even 8% year over year growth rate. You're talking about now a different level of developers that are coming in, and it is advantageous of us to treat them differently than we have before because they're bigger than they've been before. I mean, not to toot Pat's horn too much and think that he's got more money than the big developers aren't here yet. So, but they're coming.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the developers, council? Hate to put you on the spot, but
Is what we're saying, I mean, is that right that you'll do some of that stuff infrastructure wise? And we're not blowing smoke or, that's a big deal for me. And
I mean,
if it doesn't
maybe
happen, it'd
maybe
be a
ask
big deal
more
that-
specifics too, because they in the open house they went into quite a bit of detail there on that. So I may be too far in the forest to see the trees because there's been hours of discussion, right? So maybe ask if there's more specific questions around the
would one of you like to come up and we can ask you some questions? Or the both of you?
Rick, will you grab that microphone?
So Pat Burns with Link Development, 2702 North Burns Lane.
I'm Chris Kay from Reeve and Associates in Riverdale.
So the discussion that we had, were we on track? Is there anything you'd like to clarify on some of that?
Like Chris could jump in to answer some engineering questions and stuff like that, but you were definitely spot on with, we are going to dive into that, and it's gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to dive into that. With the engineering, what's gonna happen, what will happen with, but that's why I pay these guys a lot of money to solve all those problems. We come in and solve the problems that are existing when we bring a development like this. So we can solve the storm drain issues and solve how. He'll tell you, I'm not gonna tell you. He'll tell us how, because that's what
Yeah,
they
we
went to
have
school
to
for.
design the storm drain system so that it doesn't release any more water into the existing system that already is. So whatever's coming off the water now, off the hill now, we won't bring any more than that because we can't.
Right, we'll hold it and then.
Yeah, we have to build detention basins, we have to have control structures, we have to have, the water gets backed up until it can release at the current rate that it leaves the basins now or the land now. So the storm drain will be contained on site. The sewer, we have to bring the sewer up from 1,000 North. It's coming up from
31,
31.
33, 30.
Yeah, we have to extend it up to where the access is coming in. Culinary water, we're working with an adjacent property owner to get the tank up high enough that it'll be the tank that needs to be for the city to increase your water pressure. Secondary water, Pat's gonna build a reservoir for that, and all these homes will have secondary water, and it will benefit the city system as well. We went through that with staff on what we have to do to make the secondary water function.
Can I ask a question right there? Secondary water, will it also benefit the other neighbors up on the hill?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so we're working in conjunction with adjacent property owners to put the tanks and the reservoirs up high enough that they will solve the problems.
So
That's-
another question go ahead, I don't want to interrupt you.
Just on that secondary water, it's awfully porous up there. How can you seal? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about sealing those reservoirs?
It'll be lined.
Typically, we'll do like a clay liner
I see.
to keep it from seeping in.
I just know it's awfully porous,
Yeah.
so that, yeah, okay.
And then when we get into the engineering of the site, then we'll get the geotech and we'll see what the
Yeah.
soils are and what we have to do to keep the water from
I see.
losing the water.
Yeah. Any other questions for these gentlemen?
So the 1,000 north, the sidewalk, is that part of that, or?
Yes, in putting the improvements on that, you guys got a guy here that is gonna hold us to the fire to make sure it's do.
And the road, widening the road, is that part of this?
It can
agreement?
be.
Well,
I mean,
what, kind of maybe I'll explain a little bit of difference as a developer. When we come in and we have an existing zoning and we don't have to do anything, we're not gonna give you anything. Why would we do that? That's dollars and cents, this is business. When I come in and ask for something, I'm gonna get something out of it. I'm going to give something to get that. If I don't have to give anything, why would I? And if we don't get the rezone, our discussions are gonna be 100% different. It is, what do I have to, I'm gonna do my frontage on my development. Why would I touch his? Why would I do that? I mean, that's not me being selfish, that's just how business works. Anybody in my same shoes would do that exact same thing. But if
Like
I
Jeff
get
said,
an
that's
increase.
following state code.
And it's following code, yeah, we're not doing anything illegal or asking for, it's not, and I don't ever wanna come by as a threat. I'm just saying you get two different things. It's, if you're saying, hey, you can get an increased density, but you have to give us this, everything's math to me. Everything matters. Numbers are all, that's what we look at is, okay, we paid this much for the ground, we can sell it for this much. Those two are never gonna change. The only thing that's gonna change is what we can do in the middle. So if we can add more density, that adds more money that we can put into the project. If we can't get an increased density, that number's not gonna change. So we have this number that's solid, because no matter what, we can only sell for what they're gonna sell for. So once we finish that middle, that's what we have to play with. And so our margins are exactly the same. I can only do this, I can only bring my investment money if we're going to have our margins into it. And our margins, everybody thinks all developers just get so rich. We're margin based. If we're gonna spend 40 million, we have to make this much off of that. If we're gonna spend 30 million, we have to make this much off of it. If we're gonna spend 50 million, we're still making this much off of it. So our margins stay the same. So if we can increase our density, we have more money to give back to the city. If we don't increase our density, we still have money we'll put into the project, but it's not an increased amount. It stays exactly the same because that middle number is all we have to play with. So if we can increase that middle number, that gives him more stuff to beat us up over. And that's how the game works.
He's got a strong arm.
I'm telling you. And he gets to use two hands sometimes, so it's not fair.
I thought it was the height advantage.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, I just want to state that I don't take lightly changing R112 to R110. Right? We have a land use plan. We need to be serious about, as a city council, about honoring our zones, right? This is our option to choose what we want to do. And a lot of it comes down to a financial decision, like he just said, right? This decision has a lot to do with, are we as a city going to pay for the infrastructure? Or are we going to increase the density some to let the developer pay for the infrastructure? That's really the question at hand here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, I see it the same way. Are we ready for a decision? Or do we need more discussion?
I think we're good.
Good? Okay,
I make a motion that we approve to rezone it to R110 of ordinance 25-21.
I'll second it.
motion by Blair and second by Wes. See, I don't know where I think we're at you, Brett.
Okay, well, let me interject in here. I'm not saying that this is a bad subdivision. I just am not convinced of it yet. As I've been doing my financial analysis on it, I can't tell if it's going to be a positive or negative effect. I've got 4 concerns. The other concern is we've done a lot of work over 6 months to gain public trust. And I'm afraid this could jeopardize that just a little bit. So I was hoping, but the motion's been made, so there's not much that can be done. But I was hoping to put this off so that the new city council could work with this issue. But so with that, I'm going to say no.
All right. Wes?
I'm gonna go with what I feel is, what's gonna be best for the city in 20 years. You know, these guys are gonna help pay for new officers and new policemen and things like that, and so I know it's not what a lot of the residents want right now, but I'm gonna go with a yes for the future of our city.
For me, that I'm gonna vote no, and it's not so much about the difference between R1 and R12, or R10 and R12. I have a real problem with the parking issues that I'm seeing in the plan. I have a real problem with HOA fees and how those can be compounded with no control year over year. And I feel like the constituents have stated pretty boldly that they're not ready for this. That's the way I'm voting. I personally or privately feel that the contractors are being very honest in their offering, but I still have some struggles with voting yes at this time.
Paul?
I've had a substantial amount of conversations with residents. We've done open houses where there was a lot of dialogue. From a financial stewardship perspective, people are under a lot of burden right now with property tax and taxation. And I know with schools that's been a big conversation. They did pull the trigger to do that, to raise property tax. I think we need to get the infrastructure build out that we need in order to do that, or we're going to have big struggles on our hands. One of my biggest concerns was public safety. I think those have been quite addressed. Mainly from a financial stewardship perspective, I vote yes.
Blair?
Yes. I can bring up all the stuff, and I know that people hate it. They're gonna hate either one of them. So we just will get the infrastructure. That's my, if you live up there, but I don't think the rest of the town, the guy that doesn't care down south shouldn't have to pay for it either. There's two whole things there, so.
And if I could just quickly add that there's not a good answer for me here. I don't get to say yes to the thing I want to say yes to because it's not an option. So I'm just to be clear, that's what makes this decision really hard for me.
It is.
I think for everybody.
This is something that's been difficult for the area up there, for the community. We appreciate all of the concern and all of the input that is, and the involvement. This is a very difficult decision. As you can see, the council weighed heavily on this, and they've given a lot of thought and concern over the issue over the last several months, several months. And so I want to recognize the honesty and the and their interest in doing the right thing here. As it stands right now, the motion passes. We will change the zoning. Let's see, my ordinance 25-21, the rezoning of those parcels located at 3800 West. The motion passes. So we'll adopt ordinance number 25-21. Thank you, council. Thank you so much and thanks to all of you for your input. We appreciate it so much.
Mayor,
Moving,
Can I just say one thing?
yeah, sure.
So when I say I do this for a living, I literally do this for a living. I go to public meetings weekly. So you know, I don't usually get city councils nearly this involved. This is very impressive that you guys, this is my 4th public hearing that I've been sitting at for just this development. I normally sit at 1. So you guys, as far as transparency, trying to truly hear what your constituents want, that's impressive, because that doesn't happen. And I there's not a city, I was in a city meeting before I got here. That's how much I go to city meetings. It's not, I literally do it twice a week, maybe sometimes 3 or 4, but, so, for what that is worth, you guys are doing a great job. And I don't mean that as a developer, I just mean that as a citizen and as somebody who deals with city councils all the time.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much. And thank you, council. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate all of the time and effort and everything you put into doing this. So with that, we'll move on. Discussion and consideration of approving ordinance number 25-22, amending Title III, City Government, Part 3-707, voting of the revised ordinances of Tremont City Corporation.
This one keeps us on the state, what we are right now.
Yeah, okay, so you're right. This one keeps us on the state, is that correct, Cynthia? Okay, so this is kind of unique, and I've never done this before. So we're going to also present discussion and consideration of approving ordinance number 25-23, amending Title III, City Government, and Part 3-707, voting of the revised ordinances of Tremont City Corporation. Now, the first one, what we're talking about here is conflicts of interest. We want to put this into an ordinance. And one is to adopt the city, just go with the state ordinance, the state code, adopt that. The other one is to go with the state code with the exception that we would make this just households. Is that correct?
No,
You want to clarify that?
The state code defines household also. They both do. Okay? The difference is our code recluses a person from voting and discussing. That's the only difference in the two codes.
You want to follow the state exactly.
If we follow the state, then someone can declare a conflict, but they can
vote.
compete in or
Yeah.
discuss and vote. And
The other one, they would recluse them.
they would recluse themselves.
And they can
So
still
that-
recuse themselves if they just
They
decide.
could, they could, but we don't have, all people won't do that.
All right,
And so that's the big difference here.
that's the big difference.
And the way
Okay.
we have it now is they recluse themselves and they go sit down. What we added to it was just a household and definition of what a household is. And that's where the code changes.
All right,
Or we can drop to the state code and allow people to participate in the discussion. I had a discussion with one of the people that I thought was in conflict, that they're not anymore, but, one of the new council people, and they were fine with reclusing themselves, so I don't think anyone's got a heartache one way or the other.
one way or the other, okay.
I'm just trying to protect, like when you two were on, it's just trying to protect you, so.
All right.
I mean,
Any
if
other
there's a
input on
discussion,
this?
I just think that if we go with the state, then every time the state updates it for whatever reason, then we just adopt the state thing and then it's always up to date.
I agree with that.
That's my,
You want to make a motion along those lines?
well, I don't know, how do you, which one's which? I don't
Okay,
know
the
which
first
one's
one.
which.
The first one is the state.
We approved 22, but don't approve.
Are there concerns
Wanna
with?
stay on the state.
Yeah, I mean.
Are there any
what's the-
concerns with that?
There's a lot of concerns, and, you know, I'll say no to that, but that's okay. You guys can do what you want.
Well, let's discuss
My
those though,
concern is
yeah.
We do have people that get up and they have a conflict, and we do have people that get up and they have a conflict, and if they don't recluse themselves, they're interjecting a lot of power and influence and debate over changing other people's opinions. And I'm a little bit against that, especially if they have a true conflict. And I don't feel that way with the city council.
So you're concerned about other committees?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's, and actually, you bring up a good point, that we make this adoption to this one. Our attorney highly recommends that this will be the same thing for the planning commission and other bodies, I guess. I don't know if there would be only the
Planning Commission and
planning-
DRC.
The DRC. Well, the DRC is mostly employees. We don't have voting council or mayor or anything else on the DRC. Those are all employees. Anyway, so council, what do you think?
We also, as a council, have the ability to change those seats around, right, on those committees, and vote upon that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion we
I don't have
approve
strong feelings.
25-22.
22?
Stay
Okay.
on the state.
So I think what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll vote on that, and
I'm
if the,
still confused.
Okay.
Which one's, the state's the one that doesn't recruise themselves?
Yeah.
But I think if
They don't have to
you've
sit-
got a valid thing that I don't know about, which you do, then
I think we should be working to have people not on those committees that have a conflict of interest, especially when
That's why I
there's
bring that up.
multiple conflicts of interest. That ought to be addressed separately.
That would help.
But it was here. It was on the council
no, he's,
when I was a city employee
that's
and
not,
voted for a raise. That was a conflict. Forgot to recluse myself.
Yeah.
63 cents, but
but that's not what he's talking about.
Well, it could be.
could be.
Well, it could be,
Yeah, but
which is
It could be.
fine.
But I think that for the most part, you're not going to have the challenges on the council.
And if you do, then you should go sit down.
Well, and the
So-
only one, for example, Shari City down there, her husband's on the fire department, right? Well, if, under this code, if we were doing a raise for the fire department, that would affect her personally. So she would declare a conflict of interest.
Brent.
Under state code, she could
But she can still
continue that discussion. I would recommend that she don't, but it's within her right to do that. And so with the other code, doesn't get that choice. So that's the only difference. Or if I have a store downtown and we're talking about it, I'd have to recluse myself.
Shari, Jeff won't give her any of his money anyway.
Yeah, if you knew how Jeff and Shari's money was,
Not a comment.
I'm more apt to go with especially if it fixes it somewhere else in the near future.
Yeah.
You're willing to go, okay, so
The other way.
let's go with a vote on ordinance number 25-22. If it does pass, then we'll just know that we're not doing 23. But if it doesn't pass, then we'll move on to that one. So, let's see, Wes?
did we ever get a second?
I'll say,
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is for state code.
Brandon.
yeah, I'll make a motion. Second motion.
And the motion was made by
Me.
Wes. Okay, Wes made the motion and Brandon seconded the motion.
And Wes says yes.
Wes says yes.
Brandon is yes.
I actually would prefer to see us go with the second option. And so I'll say no. And again, for public trust.
Okay, all right.
I think it's important.
Blair?
I think I'm gonna go no also.
Okay.
And I'm a no.
All right, so then we go to 23. We'll just go around the dais again. Brandon?
So
I'll make a motion that we adopt.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, adopt ordinance 2523.
Okay,
and explain to him what the difference is in this one.
You have to recluse
They
yourself
have to
from
recluse
debate.
Oh.
if there is a
Um,
conflict of
that's it.
interest.
and leave the
I
dais.
can vote yes on that as well.
I'll second it.
Okay, so
Oh.
motion by
Blair.
Brett and seconded by Blair. And Brandon,
Brandon's a
you're up.
yes.
Bo, yes.
Larry, yes.
Brett, yes.
West, no.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Means
That
now you
clarifies
gotta
that
make a motion
issue.
on the Second.
What's that?
Now you gotta make a motion on the,
Well, I'll make a motion on the 25,
Dash 24.
is it
Oh.
24 or
The
20?
25, I think,
To make a motion on both, right?
I make a motion that we deny 2524.
okay.
That
And,
would be a good one.
all right.
I'll
motion
second
by-
that one.
Motion by Brett and seconded by Wes. Let's see, Bo?
Bo, yes.
Larry, yes.
Brett, yes.
West, yes.
Brandon, yes.
And by default, I guess we're
Gotta
going
keep
to
them the same.
ordinance number 25-25.
I'll make a motion that we
I'll second.
approve ordinance 20.
Motion by Bo and seconded by Brandon. Okay. No.
Brett, aye.
West, aye.
Brandon, yes.
Bo, yes.
Larry, yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. That was the first, I think, done this for a lot of years, and that's the first time we ever done anything like that. Let's see. Okay, we jump down to I now. Discussion and consideration of approving number 25-26, amending Title 18 franchise agreements, Part 18-127, annexation of the revised ordinances of Tremont City Corporation. Where are we at on
this is
this one?
just one I talked to the, when we have annexations, we have to send notices to utility companies and
yeah.
a whole slew of people. And Rocky Mountain does not want us sending a copy to this 201 South Main. They would just like it to the PO box. So we're just amending it in our code, so it's
Okay.
not a question.
No problem. That's pretty clear. Have a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2526.
I'll second.
Motion by Bo and seconded by Brandon. Let's see, I think Wes, you're up.
West, yes.
Brandon, yes.
Bo, yes.
Larry, yes.
Brett, yes.
Motion passes, thank you. Discussion and consideration of allowing the discharge of firearms within city limits at 1086 South, 1000 West. This is something we need to be taking into consideration. Take this seriously. This is within city limits, and we currently do not allow for firearms to be discharged within city limits.
Is that not
So-
state code? The reason for that?
What's
That-
the
All the
reason they
dangers
want to
around.
discharge?
He wants to put a
Burn.
target range, and
That's
they're
right
getting
there,
right
right?
into the berm of
That's you guys, isn't it?
freeway.
Yeah.
I think he can explain, Mayor.
Yeah, I think
The one that's asking.
Okay, thank you.
this is a lot better crowd than about an hour ago. Okay, yeah, I can roll up there.
Can't shoot him.
So yeah, I live between the two freeways,
Yeah,
over
Blue-
there.
In
Yeah,
the teardrop area?
Yep, if you know where the Madson's old house is, that's where I live now. Anyway, there's nobody else who lives off 10,500 North. I'm the only one who lives there. And currently, I just go up to the local shooting range to, when I want to test loads that I've rounds that I've loaded up. And I was just hoping that I could get permission. I looked up in the city code that I could get your guys' permission to discharge within city limits. And I just want to test velocity like at my house. So I've got a chronograph. I just shoot through the chronograph into this 30-foot tall berm that's right outside
outside my garage.
It's not
You know, and being the only one who actually lives there, you know, I'd have there's a pretty good sound barrier. Obviously physical barrier to stop projectiles from going anywhere, you know, undesirable. So that was my
Is that the freeway that the berm you're talking about is the freeway?
correct, yeah.
It's right between them.
So anyway, I thought it'd just be an email, but then I got the email back saying to attend city council, so here I am.
Did you suck it out with us? Huh?
Can I say that I'm a gun guy and all that? And I would love to be able to do that, but I just don't feel like if you can shoot that close to the city limit, somebody's gonna wanna go a little bit closer and shoot into a haystack, and I'm afraid that it's just gonna roll down the hill into a great big cluster, so
I get you.
that's
Figured I'd
my
shoot my
point.
shot anyway. Well, figured
No
I'd
pun.
shoot my shot.
I'll go
anyway.
out shooting with you if you'd like, you know?
You don't know until you ask.
But
Yeah.
the neat thing about this process is that you were able to ask, and we were able to run it through a process, and so you just weren't denied.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it's cool that you were able to go through that process at least.
Cool that you stuck it out with us tonight.
I think shooting into the freeway thing, I mean, I'd like to come shoot, I'm with Wes, I'd like to, but I don't think.
I don't think state code allows it is all. Like we just straight up, I don't know that we can allow it.
Yeah, he fits in the sweet spot between the freeways.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it wrong, thinking about it.
Yeah, there's enough gray area on this. My recommendation is, it's,
The shooting range is pretty close.
Save these guys going out because somebody's shooting at the car.
It is pretty close, yeah.
That's the call that will come in.
Council?
Well, as much as we'd like to do this and appreciate it, I say that we deny his application to discharge weapons inside the
Can you
city.
see our point? We'd
Oh, yeah,
love to,
Sure. You know,
but we just can't.
again, I just figured I'd ask. You know? Worst you can say is no, right?
Yeah. Okay. Got a motion by Brett, second?
I'll second.
I'll say.
Second by Brandon and Wes, both. Now I'm just losing
All in
track of where
favor.
we're at.
This isn't an
All in
ordinance.
favor of denying.
An ordinance.
Oh,
or
this is not an ordinance.
resolution.
That's right. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Any
I'll
opposed?
buy you a Coke for sticking around this long if you want.
Okay.
Thank you, and thank you for coming here tonight, sharing this with,
Oh, sweet, yeah. I can do that.
I agree. This has been a great
Sorry.
process.
Yeah, you have access to.
You're only one mad. There's a lot of other people mad tonight too, so. There might be guns discharged in the city.
We'll have to, all right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to item 9, consent agenda.
I went through that, Mayor, not maybe word for word, but I make a motion that we approve or not a motion, I just
Yeah, you make a motion.
make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just make a comment before we move on with that? It's part of this, but I was looking at some of those, and some of the departments are hitting, only 3 or 4 months into it, they're hitting right at the ceilings of how much they have for the year, so.
Some of them are like one-time expenses though that
Yeah,
they
and
go by
that
as of
may
July
be
1st.
the case, so just have them be aware that.
We
Okay.
keep an eye on that.
But
Okay.
Yes. If
Okay, we got a motion
salary
by-
is already at 100%, that's a problem.
Yeah.
3 months in, but.
Yeah.
Motion by Wes, do I have a second? Seconded by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Calendar items, we have, next week, next Tuesday is kind of the get-together for the employees.
you did say that.
Council is invited to come in. We're going to have victuals to eat and make it a kind of a fun afternoon. And you are all certainly invited to come to that on Tuesday, right?
Yes, you and spouses.
Yeah, I got 'em.
Employees and spouses.
Employees and spouses, and the time from 2 to 5? 2 to 5. All right. Let's see, is there any unfinished business that we need to address? Council? Hearing none, let's move on to our council report. Oh, yes.
Well, you're on holiday.
What time?
we're doing our sub for Santa.
2 to 4, 2 to 5.
Do you want to come up and, I think this is important to hear.
Yeah, well, you've got holidays up there. We're doing sub for Santa as a police department again this year. And we need some families' names. So if you guys have any recommendations, like Chief Cordova, I know, and kind of the circumstances, we'll select them from there, so.
Great.
In the past, officers have been able to donate, was it a day of sick leave?
I think we did up to 8 hours.
And then we use that to purchase the gifts, so we'd like to do that again.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Good deal.
Let us know, so we need some names.
We
You guys
will.
are awesome.
Thank you.
Talk to Ke-
Did you still want to do the closed session thing?
Yeah, let's breeze through this real quick and then, let's see, hearing no unfinished business, let's move on to council reports. Brandon?
I just wanted, since there's potentially only one more meeting, I just want to thank you all for this opportunity I've had. And I'm in support of the community's vote, and I think that they made great choices. But I feel like the relationships that I've made and just the friendships and knowledge of you individuals has been nothing but positive. And so I appreciate all that you've done to support me. You've all been amazing, so thank you very much. A lot of respect for you.
Thank you. Oh,
I just wanted to highlight, there's been 3 or 4 new businesses on Main Street, the barber shop. We've seen snacks down by Ace Hardware. There's quite a few really cool places coming in, and I just want to highlight that we're starting to see some fun food joint, down there. If you haven't been down, go check them out. And so I'm really excited to have that happen. And I think we're just warming up as we start revitalizing downtown and Main Street to seeing that take place. I was curious to see that a lot of feedback has been that Monton is what we want to be, not having trees. That's been curious to me, and I'm so curious to see the feedback and hear more about that, and make sure that we get Main Street done the way that the residents want. Other info, no, just, thank you for, your service too, and those others that it's a pleasure to work with you guys. I'm so grateful for all the time and effort you put in to serving this community. So, thank you.
I got one thing, and it's just a portion of what, like, these guys have done. Lyle and Brett's been in there forever, Wes. Going with Carl and looking at the water stuff and going over all that and talking about the secondary and all that. You guys have done a ton of work to get the secondary and have the people not wave with all their fingers because of rates hikes, the 50%, but the water alone, what you've had to go through is, you just got to pat yourself on the back to think that all that water that we got is because of you guys. So I want to commend you, and the same with, hopefully we'll have another meeting, but publicly, and I wish everybody, I'd have brought it, I was going to bring it up through everybody, but now they won't listen, but it's a lot, and I've only been 2 years, and I know I spent all them years in the fire department that I worked my butt off, and you think nobody cares, but they do. And if you think of what we wouldn't have if you wouldn't have been there, so thank you.
I am glad this last 3 months are over, and I want to thank the mayor for running a good campaign. We're friends. We sat back and reminisced over some of the fun things we did in our early adult life, and so I want to thank the mayor for all that he's done. He's been a wonderful influence, and he's been a good friend to us, and he serves well. And so I would ask people to show the mayor some grace and some kindness. for what he's done. And Wes, thank you. Brandon, thank you. It's been an honor serving with you guys.
The only thing I got is Midland the other day sure was nice. That was a beautiful program they put on over there, and, you know, the start of the memorial that we've got for our officers and the continuation of the veterans deal that's going on there, and, you know, the basic is there when, I think all that cement they put in the ground for them shade things are there, you know, so let's finish that project out whenever you get the chance and all that, but it was really nice to have people not out in the road on the chairs. I thought maybe we should have had a little less grass and more chairs for that event, didn't we?
Yeah, it was
Got to tell everybody to bring lawn chairs on the next one, but
70 people there.
same thing, Lyle, we've had a great friendship, and, you know, we was friends before, not much friends before, but raced motorcycles against him 50 years ago, but,
Yeah, that's right.
you know, I know that you have bled Tremont City blood for as long as you've been here, and you have taken a lot of, what's the politically correct word? You've taken a lot of crap for a lot of things in this city, but you have been the most devoted man that I've seen. You know, you're here 20, 30 hours a week, all for nothing, you know or not nothing, but you care about this city, and know that the city cares about you. You might not have won the election, but the city still cares about you and appreciates everything that you've done. Brandon, thanks for your quick little stay. It's an eye-opener, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, I don't know if Shari's here, Christie's still here, and I seen Brent. It's an eye-opener, people, and you just put your heart into it and make them hard decisions. Tonight wasn't an easy decision, but, you know, I feel like I gotta do what's best for the city in the next 20 years, because that's why we're at where we're at today, is from hard decisions made in the past, so. Other than that, thanks, and one more meeting? I can, huh?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We ain't got one more meeting, I wanna
We
say my
gotta-
true feelings.
All right. I
Not
just,
another meeting, then I got more to say.
Just get Carl to be quiet.
Went light.
I just want to thank everybody who ran in the election this year. All of the candidates that we had, a lot of people. It's been July till now, so it was holy cow. I too want to thank my opponent, Brett. This has been it's been a challenge and everything, and it stung. I admit it stung, but the people have spoken, and I support all of you. Hopefully that we have the opportunity to. I hope to be able to still be involved with the city in some fashion, and whether maybe it's pulling weeds out at the cemetery or something like that. But we just appreciate all of you so much, and we appreciate this community. I think we're just a fantastic community. So with that, we have, let's see, Lindsay, do we go into the closed session while we're still in the meeting? Okay, so,
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session.
okay, we have a motion, and do I have a second motion by Wes, a second?
I'll second.
And seconded by Bo.
And I also second motion a bathroom break.
Break, let's take a short break, and then we'll come back and, holy cow, we've